We have to get the other platforms going. It's crazy. You get ready to come on live, and all of a sudden your devices are like, "Do you want to do a new install now?" Like, no, I'm about to go live. But let me go ahead and get this on. We're going to be talking about, was President Trump right? You hear this all the time. Trump was right about something. Oh, today we're going to certainly discuss that because he just may have been. But we'll talk about it. And good evening to you folks that are filtering in. Puffy's mom. You must be really sad right now, Puffy's mom, considering where Puffy actually is. You holding down the baby oil? Oh my goodness, Puffy's mom. I like that. I prefer Stifler's mom, to be honest with you. I'm Gen X, so I'm sure you guys know about who Stifler's mom is if you're old enough. That was what, a '90s movie? Yeah, Stifler's mom. So yeah, I'm more of a Stifler's mom person, not Puffy's mom. Yes, Tom, you know about him. You know about her. It's as good as apple pie. That's what he was taught. So I'm almost ready here, getting my last hashtags in here. Trump was right, is what we're going to be discussing in regards to something that he said recently. So we're going to make it happen. And then there's a host of other things. This might be a challenging show because of the angle it's coming from. But fortunately, not a lot of wild stuff has happened. Let me go ahead and fire up TikTok and get the program fully operational now. If I can get my other, why is this in error? Get my other streams going. So we should be going momentarily. And I'll just start out by saying, what up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. And that really depends on who you ask. I get viewers every show, you ugly ass, where the hell's a handsome liberal? I got some folks on the right who will tell you the term handsome liberal is an oxymoron. You can't be liberal and handsome simultaneously. So we go through it all. Anyway, as you see what's on the monitor behind me, Trump was right. And it follows up by saying about everything. I'm not, now, there's no human in existence that's right about everything. I suppose you might give that tribute to God or Jesus Christ or whoever your deity is, but nobody's right about everything. And there are a few folks out there that are now floating around. Kamala Harris was right. Kamala Harris was right. So it depends on who you talk to. And look, yeah, I'm just going to be honest with you. Kamala Harris did make some accurate predictions during the debate with Trump on how he might govern if he became president. She has been accurate on some things. I'd have to go back and listen to her in full detail to go deeper into it. But she did make some accurate predictions, such as using the military in U.S. cities. She actually said that accurately. But we're talking about President Trump. We're talking about president of our current great nation, President Trump himself. When I say Trump was right about it, we're going to say everything, but I'm going to say he was right about something. I want to give you a clip. This is President Trump. This clip here is coming from some years ago. And thank you, handsome conservative. I got here first to support your local liberal. I do. Handsome conservative, shout out to you. You've been kind. Thank you very much, handsome conservative. Shout out to you. So, what I want you to hear, and I want to play this because we've been discussing everything from getting Maduro out of power in Venezuela. Trump has dealt with a host of what we might refer to as rogue nations in effort to make America safe, make our borders safe. This is what you're often hearing from the Trump administration. Now, we began. I did a video of this on the site, but I'm going to certainly run it by you guys. We did a video earlier. We've been moving naval assets towards Iran ever since we basically commandeered Venezuela. So we sent a lot of the naval vessels and assets to Iran, and they're there now. President Trump has been talking quite boisterous. If Iran doesn't make a deal, for the most part, you're going to have military action. And there are no shortage of analysts that suggest we could actually be attacking Iran. Some have said by this weekend. So that's 48 hours, 72 hours, 96 hours. We don't know. We don't know. And of course, Trump is doing his job. He's being tight-lipped. Reporters are asking him about it, and he's doing his job. He said, I'm not going to talk to you about that. That's what a president should do. But in regards to potentially going to war with Iran, I want to give you a clip. This is vintage President Trump, and I think it speaks volumes.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage.
That's from 2011. Now, Barack Obama was president at the time. That's him suggesting that Obama was going to start a war because he was weak at negotiating. President Trump was right. A president is going to start a war. It just doesn't appear as though it's going to be Obama. It may be him. Remember, he is suggesting that if you can't negotiate, you're weak. Has this comment aged well or aged poorly? But he is certainly suggesting that you're going to start a war with Iran because you cannot negotiate. Your negotiating skills, I suppose, are weak or whatever the case may be. And here we are now, likely to be going to war with Iran under his watch. So that's his comment against somebody else, apparently coming full circle. And James Harper says aged like milk. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, this is his own words. I live near a military base and they have been super active. Wow, says Ocean. Yeah. So it looks like we may be dealing with Iran very, very near future. What happened to President Trump suggesting that you should be able to negotiate? I guess that went out the window now that he is at the helm. So we're going to talk about that, and I want to hear your opinion on whether or not we should go at it with Iran. What are we? I've been following this somewhat. I want to hear from some of you folks in the comments, and certainly when I bring you guys up. Why are we about to attack Iran again? Just several months ago, Trump was boasting that we obliterated their nuclear capabilities. So now why are we attacking them again? Why are we about to literally possibly go to war with them again? I don't get it. I know they have protests going on over there and they're apparently executing protesters, but I thought we were America first and we're going to get out of this stuff. What is the purpose of this? I don't get that part. I see Michael says because he lied. So in other words, we did not obliterate their nuclear program. I guess we'll look at it like this. If we launch an attack on Iran, and all of a sudden you're hearing about some kind of nuclear facilities being destroyed, then you would be right. That would mean what they told us a few months ago about obliterating their program was inaccurate. Because that's the term they used. It was obliterated. Then why are you back there less than a year later blowing shit up? Apparently you didn't obliterate something. But we'll wait till the language comes out if we end up going back into Iran. Also, another topic. These are a little bit more darker, but it's one I refer to as the sound of Philadelphia.
President Trump says he wants to restore, quote, truth and sanity to the story of America. But after a slavery exhibit was removed in Philadelphia Thursday, the city is fighting back. Here's Elaine Quijano.
The panels taken down this week in Philadelphia memorialized 9 enslaved people who lived in what was once the executive mansion for President George Washington.
it made me feel sick. We're proud of our history. Part of that pride is acknowledging negative aspects.
Last spring, President Trump ordered national parks to ensure displays did not contain content that, quote, inappropriately disparage Americans. Philadelphia officials are now suing the federal government.
And I'm bringing this to you because they won that lawsuit this week. They won it earlier this week. So the exhibit has to go back up. But what does he mean when he says truth and sanity to America? It was the reason he took it down. And he doesn't want anything up that disparages Americans. What does that mean? I want to get somebody up that can help me out with that. Because I'm totally clueless. What is he? Why would taking down a slavery exhibit bring truth and sanity back to America? Why is that language being used? I'm clueless. This is where you guys come in. Certainly some of my beloved MAGA might be able to help me out with it as well. You know we don't block, ban, or censor, so maybe even some MAGA can help me with it because I don't quite understand the language behind that, but you guys can help me out with that. Also, I do want to bring another clip to you. I don't know if I got all this shit straight, but remember the whole, what was this? President Trump, the whole thing about Obama and all his Democrat adversaries and celebrities as, you know, jungle animals. I'm not really trying to go back down that road, but I'm asking because remember, President Trump made it clear that what was posted on his site suggesting that Barack Obama and Michelle Obama were primates. It had Biden as an ape and all that. Like I said, not trying to go down that road about that again, but I do want to tackle the notion that he stated that the post came from a staffer and it was not him. This is a clip. I happen to see this on The View. And we're not going to, listen, I know a lot of you folks don't favor The View, so we're not going to play any of their opinions or any of that. This is a clip from the Trump administration that they happen to play, and I want to run it by you. So it has no opinions from The View in this statement at all. It's just a actual post from the Trump administration because it leaves questions to be asked in regards to President Trump suggesting that that video was posted not by him, but by a staffer.
Who posted it? It was in fact a staffer who posted it. Can we please roll the clip? It was a staffer who posted it.
Should be taken as the policy of the Trump administration. It's coming straight from the horse's mouth. When you see it on Truth Social, you know it's directly from President Trump.
So what is that? What is that? Why would Carolyn Leavitt, who's wrong in this case? Did Carolyn Leavitt get it wrong? Carolyn Leavitt get it wrong? She clearly stated, if you see it on Truth Social, it came from the president. This isn't that old, by the way. This clip of her saying it is only a few weeks old. I don't think this is very old. So did she get it wrong? Does she not know what she's discussing? Or is there perhaps a chance that maybe Trump wasn't being honest? I don't know. But I do want to hear from you folks. What the hell is she talking about? She made it clear that if you see it on Truth Social, it came from Trump. That was on Truth Social. So somebody certainly explain it. Somebody say her name right. What is her name? Breonna Taylor there? What is it? Levitt? How is her name pronounced? Says say her name right. You want me to say Carolyn's name right when you guys keep saying Kamala? Okay. All right. I'm trying to get it right. Somebody help me out with that. Kamala is what you guys keep calling her, not Kamala. I'm so used to saying her name right that even when I tried to say it wrong, I got it right. But I help me out with that. In the comments, Edge on 1814 says, "You really this blind? What the fuck?" I want you to help me out. That's what I'm here for. You guys can help me clarify this. But she did indeed state flat out that if you see it on Truth Social, it came from President Trump. So that means either President Trump was being dishonest or his spokesperson is being dishonest. So one way or another, I think that is worth discussing. So we'll talk about all of this stuff. And I certainly want to hear from you guys in regards to, the possibility of us going to war with Iran and whether or not you feel it's the right thing to do. You think it is part of, I don't know, making America great again, making the planet great again, or what have you. So those are going to be our topics today. Trump has been making it a softer news week. So I will say shout out to him. You know, we've gotten to a point where a lot of folks want news, certainly coming out of the White House, to be somewhat boring again. So we'll see. And by the way, it looks like he is getting approval to continue on with the ballroom at the White House. That is another story, but nothing worth really going into today. So looking in the comments right off the bat, Yo says, what happened to no new wars? Well, the Trump administration and a lot of MAGA are going to say we haven't been in a war yet. We have not officially been in a war yet. The only files, what it says, the only files you know are prosperity. That's disturbing. Okay, you guys are talking to each other about that one. It's all about nuclear weapons, baby. Well, Leroy, we were told that program was obliterated. We were told that was obliterated. What do you mean it's about nuclear weapons? It can't be. If you just obliterated it a few months ago, how can it be about nuclear weapons already again? That doesn't make sense. Because he thinks we had slavery and it was bad is an attack. Ooh. Well, I do want to hear from you folks. What does he mean when he says that he wants to bring truth and sanity to America by bringing down slavery exhibits and stuff like that? What does that even mean? Somebody help me out, because I'm going to plead ignorance. I don't know what that means. Let me start it out. We'll make it happen by going to a Sunflower. Good afternoon, Sunflower. Bringing what did he say? Truth and sanity back to America. What say you?
I say he is insane.
You don't really think our commander-in-chief is insane, do you?
Yes, I do, 100%.
What has he done to make you think that?
Well, look at this comment in itself, right? He wants to rewrite history, pretend that history didn't exist, and that, people didn't go through things that they went through. He lives in this bubble that which why I don't get MAGA a lot of the times, because they're like, they support this guy who he really could care less about what happens to them. Everything is about him and his circle and what's good for him and his family. I mean, everything he's done, they would be throwing any Democrat out the window if they did a fraction of what he's done.
Well, when you listen to MAGA, it makes sense why they support President Trump. They believe the liberals are trying to impose transgender on our children. They were letting anybody in the country that could rape or unalive anybody. I mean, they believe the liberals are trying to destroy the whole damn country. Not to mention, according to MAGA, the price of groceries are unaffordable. So Trump came along, he was going to fix the economy, he's going to control the border, and get rid of all the woke nonsense.
And yet, he supports what happened, with, I don't know, I don't want to get what I can say on your show, but everything that they wanted Trump to do, Trump is a part of. Between Epstein, he's a part of that. He's a part of that society that abused children, abused women. A lot of people, when they talk about Epstein, they always talk about the children, but they forget about the adult women that were abused just as well.
Yeah, but didn't not only, I believe one of the abusers or something suggested that Trump didn't do any wrong. Didn't Jazane also come back and say Trump didn't do anything wrong?
They all come back and say that, but you also have them saying that nobody did anything wrong and it was a Democrat hoax.
Well, that's what Trump says. Trump says that.
Yeah, but that's what his base started saying, even though it wasn't a hoax before and it was all the Democrats were in it, and now that it's out and it's like, hey, no, this is a smorgasbord of just rich people doing bad things to people. Well, we're going to just ignore this now, and it's a Democratic hoax. It doesn't exist. And now that it's released, it's like everybody looks the other way. Are you going to ignore the fact that he said it's a Democratic hoax and there's no bad people in the file? There was no list. There was nobody named in the file.
Well, in regards to it being a Democrat hoax, how do you respond to many who would push back and say it comes across as a Democrat hoax because when Democrats were in office, the Democrats weren't concerned with this at all? All of a sudden, Trump becomes president, and now it's something they really want to discuss and find out about.
So for me, it was that they ran on that, right? Not that it shouldn't have been released before, and I think there are too many people covering up for a society that we're not involved in, and they're protecting their friends and their friends of friends, and money and power that plays a big role, Democrat, Republican alike, right? It's an us against them, and they're making us think it's Republican, Democrat, right? But MAGA ignores that he's part of them. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, but they're going to suggest also that the Democrats ignore that Democrats are part of them too. I mean, like I said, under Biden, the Democrats there was not a lot of outcry from the Democrats to get to the bottom of the Epstein files.
So play the devil advocate here, and them saying the Democrats were ignoring it, and that's why we're better than Democrats, but then turn around and ignore the same thing.
Yeah. Both sides are knee deep in both involvement and hypocrisy.
Yeah, but when you talk to the actual people and what the people want, and there are a lot of Republicans that want this, you have your high profile people that don't, but that's because they're getting paid by other people or they're also part of it. But when you talk to your everyday normal human being, no, I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. I don't care, who favors them, who doesn't. Get them all and get them out, right? Why are we accepting this? Oh, because your guy did bad, or this happened before, this happened back in the history. You're supposed to change these things. You're supposed to move past them. But MAGA, where it annoys me the most with MAGA is that they held this high and mighty that everything's democratic until it brought up that no, it's not.
Let me ask you this, because somebody is bringing this up in the comments. Whoopi Goldberg, of all people, her name is on the list. Somebody in the comments asked, do you think that she's innocent, or do you think she has something to do with it as well? Her name is on the list.
Anyone on the list needs to be investigated, right? Because you got to remember, when you have these type of people and this type of island, their goal is to reach out to everybody who has money, everybody who has power, and try to get something on them, right? We're going to invite you to our dinners. We're going to do this. It doesn't necessarily mean that every person, Democrat and Republican included, that was contacted or contacted back was a part of anything or knew anything, right? But that should be investigated. Like, I don't see why it's so hard to say, hey, I want somebody to investigate if they were on the list. That means they not only maybe they potential did something wrong, but maybe they have knowledge of something that we all don't have.
But what about what Marjorie Taylor Greene said that Trump told her? It's like innocent people could be hurt if you go digging around in this.
Innocent people were hurt.
Yeah, it's a good point. Good point.
And the biggest thing, you know what? I can't stand Marjorie, but I love.
How the hell did that happen?
Wow.
Yeah, you got haters out there. I mean, it happens with a lot of my guests because you didn't say shit in my opinion, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, it happens. It does happen. We got listen, folks on the right, folks on the left, all in one place. You're gonna have haters that do that.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't know why though. You run a good show where everybody can speak. Even if I'm against what somebody's saying, like you don't kick them off. You don't say no. You might question and push back or whatever. But that's one of the things I love about your channel.
Thank you. Well, the thing about it is you have folks that believe their opinion is king and they don't want to hear an opposing opinion. So that's all it really takes in some cases.
Yeah. Sounds like Trump.
I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave it at that. But go ahead.
But Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Mm-hmm. And I dislike her. I still don't like her, even though she's speaking. There's things that she says that I agree with, but doesn't change how I feel. And that, to me, that's just the way life is, right? Yeah. But the fact that her base supported everything that she still says to this day, because she's not falling on the Democrats and I love Democrats now. No. She is 100% true to everything she's always been. And her people just turned right against her because she spoke out.
That's amazing. Is that not amazing that she could have voted with Trump 98% of the time and just simply trying to get to the bottom of the Epstein files has made all of MAGA turn on her? How does that work? That's amazing.
Yeah, And she wasn't like, what's her name? Elizabeth Warren, who now is part of the Democratic. Like, she didn't say, oh, no, I like Democrats now. You know?
You're talking about Liz Cheney. You mean Liz Cheney?
Yeah, Liz, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said one. But, Liz Cheney, thank you. You know, where she just jumped ship. Marjorie Taylor Greene's not even trying to jump ship. And she's telling you that this is a problem, and they're still not listening.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, even Liz Cheney, for instance, she voted with Trump like 95% of the time, and they turned on her. Oddly enough, they actually took in JFK and Tulsi Gabbard, and both of them were running to be Democrat presidents. Well, I don't understand how you could run to be the head of the Democrat Party, lose, and then go join the Republican administration. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
It's whoever's going to give them power. It's not about, that's why I said it's not about party. It's about wealth and unwealthy, right?
Yeah.
And they give it to us to make it about party. Oh, they're against this and they're for this, and for us to hate each other in some way or fashion. When in truth, I mean, even before Trump was president, Democrats, Republican leaders they all went to dinners together. They attended the same parties.
Well, Trump is on the record saying he identifies as a Democrat back in, I think, the 80s and 90s. So he used to be on. He also has flipped like Tulsi Gabbard in the other one. Yeah, he flipped too.
He went independent too at some point. Then he went to Republican. So, but it's class status. It's nothing else but class status. And the fact that we all of us Americans need to be on the same page with that and know it's not a Democrat Republican. It's class. First class, second class, third. That's all you got.
I mean, having money entitles you. Well, I won't say entitles you, but it will get you a certain amount of power, and you can. I don't want to say middle of Fifth Avenue, but the middle of a whole bunch of young girls is probably even worse. And it does seem like that they are both sides of the aisle, as you rightfully pointed out. It seems like there's a significant effort to cover some of this stuff up.
Did you hear about the New Mexico thing that's going on right now?
Where they had a whole camp out there, and they were doing all this stuff. I'm hearing pieces of it. Yeah.
So they're spending $2.5 million to search the property now.
So you believe there's possibility of cadavers or bodies out there or whatever?
Well, they found it in the emails, which is what led them to that.
Why would somebody write that shit down? You know, it's one thing to be doing this and getting away with it. It's another thing to feel so comfortable doing this heinous shit that you actually putting it in emails and putting it in writing. Why would you write that down?
They felt untouchable. And look at what happened when Epstein did get caught originally. He was untouched. They gave him his own wing in the prison that he just have to come and sleep in on the weekends. But he got to go home during the week. And the same person who gave him that sweetheart deal works in the White House. Was it Acosta?
I mean, but not even just the prosecutor. I mean, the judge. When you let liberals out, illegal immigrants out, you give them a slap on the wrist. The right goes after the judge. They say the judge should be punished for letting that guy out or giving him a slap on the wrist or something like that. The judge that signed off on that deal, because I'm assuming the Epstein camp worked with the prosecutors and got him this sweetheart deal. The judge don't have to stamp that. The judge should be investigating this. Why would you look at what he did and be okay with this deal? Why didn't you question the prosecution? Like, what did he present? Just like with Ghislaine Maxwell being in minimum security. And now she just the other week stated that she's going to continue to plead the fifth unless she gets a pardon. Then what the hell was the minimum security for? You're not even cooperating. Why are you in minimum security? So
they gave her minimum security so she wouldn't cooperate, not so she would.
Yeah, wow. Holy shit. Well, I assume a future administration might get to the bottom of that, but you're probably not going to get that under Trump because obviously it came from the Trump administration himself. So you're not going to get to the bottom of why she got upgraded
Trump
like that.
leaves, I have a feeling that there's going to be a missing videotape section in her cell as well.
Well, she obviously knows a hell of a lot, including, as you might suggest, no pun intended, where the bodies are buried. She clearly knows that stuff. So she's a wealth of information, and it does not seem as though the Trump administration is trying to get that from her. It sounds more like what you're saying. They're rewarding her for keeping quiet.
Yeah. Well, you think about it. Trump's people went to visit her. She now gets like a sweetheart prison and personal faxes and massages and stuff like that. And not talking to anybody. That's weird. Why would you get all that stuff and not talk?
The crazy thing is, like I said, you hear MAGA, the Fox News types, they always are criticizing people who get out with a slap on the wrist. The guy who took out Lincoln Riley, or the immigrant that took out the girl on the subway in North Carolina, and how he got a long criminal history. I don't know why they don't seem to have a problem with, Ghislaine Maxwell getting a minute. They don't seem to have a problem with this one. I don't understand that, because she should be in the worst environment that they can muster up.
Listen, if what came out with Biden's name instead of Trump, they would be singing a whole other tune. The difference between us and them is we wouldn't. We would be like, Biden did what? Like, send him out to the pasture too. We would not be on that same field of excusing him,
Well, they're going to point out, though, that when the Democrats were in office, when Biden was in office, the Democrats were not as excited about getting to the bottom of this as they are now. That's a legitimate criticism the right has on the Democrat Party, though.
Yeah, but if you also look at, so when you look at what was going on during when Biden was president, too, they were in the middle of a case with Ghislaine Maxwell. Right?
Yeah.
You can't release certain things. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't have, and yeah, I disagree, and I'm upset that they didn't release it, but they hid behind laws to do it as well, right?
Yeah.
Trump campaign, and I think they're wrong. They should have released it. No, they should have been released when Epstein was arrested back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Right?
The minute he got that sweetheart deal, both parties should have, people of both parties should have won ape shit. That's when it should have happened.
However, what doesn't make sense to me, though, is if Biden ran on that and won and pushed it, his vice president pushed it and said, we're going to do this, and said, we're going to do this. And then you hear that Biden is in on it, and Biden went to the island and is on the list, and that part of the emails, and Biden says, well, I'm not going to do it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't disagree that some of Trump's biggest problems are self-inflicted wounds. I mean, you're right. That wouldn't have happened if he didn't open his mouth and campaign on bringing this stuff to a head, and then gets in there. You got Pam Bondi, like, the files are, was it Pam Bondi? The files are on my desk and we're going to release them soon, or something like that, she said. I mean, yeah, when you're doing stuff like that, yeah, you're going to be held to a higher account than the last administration, because you're leading people to believe you're going to be more transparent.
Yeah, and then only to go around a couple things. So, like I said before, to say there is no list. It's no longer like there's nothing bad in the Epstein files except what Epstein and Maxwell did. They're the only criminals.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because we've seen the files, is what they said. We've seen the files. It's only them. There's no co-conspirators. There's no anything. It's all a Democratic hoax all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, 1,500 victims. You think Ghislaine and Maxwell was just doing all this by themselves? Yeah, I mean, when you start telling folks, the sky is green and they can clearly look up, it's like insulting the intelligence. I mean, and you're right. The Trump administration definitely took a complete 180 about how they were addressing this stuff when Biden was in office versus how they are now, and it's not working well for him.
Well, there's somebody who said he didn't run on that. So you don't have actual Trumps out there saying, this is what I'm doing, right? He did interviews that he say may or may not release it. It was his vice president. It was the people in his party that
Bongino absolutely was all over the internet talking about it. Cash Patel, as I mentioned, Pam Bondi made statements. I mean, your whole administration was in on this.
Vance did a whole interview regarding it, and he said how disgusting it was to be kept a secret. Like his whole from the vice president down, all ran with him on this. Now, I will say he did say in an interview he would release it, and backtracked in that same interview that after I think he realized what he said. Like, I don't want to release that.
I mean, to be honest with you, even if he didn't campaign on releasing it, you got a serious problem that you got to answer with all these young victims. Why aren't you releasing it? Why is the hesitation? And he has not properly answered that.
No, but when he goes on air and he does call it a hoax, only for now that these emails are released and you're seeing it's not a hoax. This happened. So how do you not hold your president accountable for telling you something that actually happened was a hoax?
Yeah, and
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I do got to move it on, but that is something that the reporters, when they interview him, should ask him that. What made you suggest several months ago that this was all a Democratic hoax? What made you say, and why did you early in your term take the Truth Social and say, stop talking about Epstein? What was the purpose of doing it? That's what they should ask him. I'll give you the last word.
But if you look at when you look at MAGA too, they backtrack on everything. They were getting upset about people taking statues down in history. Then he knocks down the White House, and they're all like, "Yay!"
That's a home run. I didn't even think of that. That's an interesting point. That is, erasing, taking down statues and Confederate monuments. But I will counter by saying the liberals is the other way as well. The liberals wanted to take down Confederate history and leave up Black history, and the right wants to do the exact opposite. So, I mean,
but when you're talking about that, and then he knocks down the part of the White House, like a historical part of the White House, like, and then it's like, oh yeah, we don't have a problem with history anymore. You know what I mean? And then taking away all the stuff when it comes to Black history, slaves, stuff like that. Like, so when we were taking down Confederate statue, it wasn't about erasing history. It was about not honoring Confederate people who made it bad, right? So we weren't saying, hey, this doesn't exist. These bad people weren't real. We're saying we're not honoring these bad people. Yeah. You know, that's the biggest difference between taking down one statue versus another.
And I couldn't agree more. And he has renamed those bases back. I got to move it on, those Sunflower.
All right. Take care. Thanks for having me up.
Anytime. Appreciate you coming through. And yeah, I mean, I agree with the last call in regards to describing what amounts to erasing history. History happened. If you take down a Black history or a slavery exhibit, that isn't erasing history. History is still there. Same thing with the Confederate statues and monuments. If you take them down, you don't erase history. What the Confederates did, what General Lee or Stonewall Jackson or whoever you want, what they did it. History doesn't go away by taking it down. As my last caller was indicating, a statue is a tribute to you. A statue is a way of honoring you. Like, for instance, when we defeated Iraq, Saddam Hussein during the Iraq War, they took all his statues and monuments down. I don't mean the history of Saddam Hussein doesn't still exist in Iraq. The people of Iraq, certainly the ones that are probably 40 or older, could give you all the stories about his history. The history doesn't go away with the statue. The statue is a tribute to history. So that part I certainly agree with. But when you remove statues and monuments, it is easier, I suppose, for people to forget history. So if you want people to forget slavery or to forget about the Confederates, so be it. So, but anyway, we're going to continue on. I do want to also talk about the fact that we may be going to war, so to speak, with the nation of Iran momentarily. Any time now, some would say. I mean, it's apparently that close. Looking in the comments briefly, though, that's why Trump is busy renaming stuff with his name, because he knows he is going to be seen as a big loser. Well, if Trump loses like you're suggesting he is a king, then his names are going to come down. Most of the stuff that Trump is doing is by way of executive order. Just like Trump became president and he removed everything that Biden and Obama did by executive order, that could happen to him with the next guy. Stuff like the Department of War could go back to the Department of Defense. The Gulf of America will almost certainly go back to the Gulf of Mexico. I believe that's one that almost certainly will happen. Him renaming the Trump Kennedy Memorial Center, that will change. The next president will change that if it's a liberal. That's another thing. He's done a lot of that stuff. That executive order stuff, that stuff's going to go. Why would you want to have a memorial named after you while you're still alive? That just seems like you're jinxing yourself. I mean, do I want to go put my name on a tombstone? That's a memorial. You're still living. I don't know why he would do that, but yeah, a lot of the things he's doing that are by executive order, it'll be rolled back the minute he's gone. Certainly all of trying to be Kim Jong-un, like with naming everything after yourself. I think he wants to name Dulles Airport after himself. Was it a train station in New York or New Jersey somewhere? Something like, I mean, he wants to name a lot of things after himself. My guess is once he's gone, that stuff's going to be rolled back pretty quickly. Maybe not in the South, but DC and up north, they're going to roll. Just like, they had named stuff after Black Lives Matter. They had a Black Lives Matter plaza in DC. Trump became president. He made him take it down. That's going to happen to his legacy as well. Looking in the comments, that's why this guy is dumb as a box of rocks, says 7 Mac. Appreciate your input. Trump started talking about getting into heaven out of nowhere. It didn't exactly say he meets the requirement. Well, he also suggested that he wasn't going to heaven before. He's also suggested that he won't be going to heaven. I don't know. Remember, he was pursuing the Nobel Peace Prize. You think he's a peaceful candidate? Your president? You think he's a president that wants the world to be peaceful? Do you believe that that is what his administration has shown us? Let me go back to the box. We'll make it happen with James Harper. By the way, help your boy out with the TikTok cap goal. You guys know what I do. Tap the screen, get the lights on up to 30,000. James, good afternoon.
What's going on, Tim?
Not much at all. Good to have you back on. Iran, America, at war. What say you?
Why after all this time? Remember that one strike he did where he was like, "Oh, we decimated them.
We obliterated.
He hit an empty building."
Wait a minute. His whole administration said Iran's nuclear capabilities were "quote unquote" obliterated. Are you suggesting he was not being honest?
Yes, he wasn't being honest because they also showed photos of them moving stuff out before they even struck.
So, what is this, a follow-up to get what we didn't get the first time?
No, this is more of a things ain't going his way, so he needs something to rally the people behind, and nothing rallies people more than an enemy we have to fight.
Wait. You're saying that nothing rallies MAGA more than fighting an enemy? What do you say? MAGA are warriors? They like to fight?
They are so-called uber patriots who think they're tough. So if there's somebody that we need to fight, they're quick to say, yeah, let's go get them, as long as it's somebody else's child or somebody else that has to go do the fight.
What is an uber patriot? And what are the Democrats? If the Democrats are not uber, what is an uber patriot first?
These people who their whole personality is, I love my country, it's the best country in the world. That's their whole personality.
I love my country. Is there anything wrong with the right saying that? I mean, they say the left hates America. What's wrong with liking your country?
And there's the issue. Anybody who doesn't agree with them automatically hates their country.
So you don't believe the Democrats actually hate America, as Trump would say?
No. You can love something and not like what is going on.
In other words,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, in other words, you can be critical of your nation.
Right, but in their eyes, you can't be critical of the nation and still love it. In fact, if you don't like what's going on, in their mind, you're supposed to like just pack up and leave and go somewhere else.
Yeah, they do. I get told that pretty damn often myself. If you don't like America, just leave. Like, God damn, what makes you think I don't like my country enough to flee my homeland? I do hear the right saying that a lot. I don't know where that comes from, but that is something they say commonly. So, what about
every time there's a Democrat in charge, they're the loudest critics in the room.
Yeah, that is what Obama was very critical of the U.S. military. He said it was dilapidated under Biden and Obama. He said the world was laughing at us. We become the laughing stock. Yeah, Trump was very critical of America under Democratic administrations. And yeah, nobody told him, well, if you don't like America, leave it. So I don't know. Maybe it's some sort of double standard or something.
It's always a double standard. Like, remember, this is the party of fuck your feelings until you say something about dear leader. Then all of a sudden, you can't say that then, and you need to be canceled.
They say the Democrats do that.
Okay, but who's the main ones you see doing that? Every time something goes out, like look at what's going on right now. You got the Trump administration asking for the data of people who are critical about ICE and Trump. You got them using the FCC to shut down programs, shut down shows and programs that are critical of Trump. Like they're using their weight to force networks to censor their people.
Yeah, the FCC thing, certainly after they opened up a case on bad money for the Super Bowl performance, that is concerning that the Federal Communications Commission, to be using the FCC to Stephen Colbert, you mentioned, I mean, that is concerning. That does sound like some sort of pseudo attack on free speech, the First Amendment.
The same thing that the rights were up and down the left was doing.
Yeah, but the left wasn't doing it with the FCC. I mean, like shit. I don't know what was the left doing to silence free speech at the government level?
They weren't doing anything. What they were getting mad at is the fact that they were getting a fact checked by AI, and they couldn't agree with, and they couldn't get over the fact that the shit they were saying was not true, and they were getting their accounts taken away or shut down because of all that misinformation.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it seems like he's getting his way. We still got 3 more years left. I mean, the midterms, we don't know where that'll go. And that was one of the other topics I wanted to talk about in regards to the Save America Act. What are the chances that the documents you present to show that you are an American citizen, because that's the primary requirement of the Save America Act, what are the chances that folks will suggest your documents are fraudulent?
That's all it takes, especially if it's in a red area. Oh, they'll definitely be like, oh, how do we know that this is real?
Yeah.
Remember, like, if you legally change your name, it's not going to be the same as your birth certificate.
Yeah.
Are they going to accept that?
Yeah, and that's the problem, because I did a video earlier, and I mentioned, I'm Gen X, or you take somebody like my parents, they're going to be, baby boomers or whatever. When you look at what an original birth certificate was like from that era, it's basically something that was typed on a typewriter. That was well before computers were around, well before they had watermarks and holograms they put it. I mean, like, anybody could create a key.
You already proved that when you go register. That's one of the steps when you register. You don't have to do it when you get to the booth. Before you even get to the point to vote, you have to register yourself to vote.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm saying, is that when you go register to vote and you present those documents, if I present, now I don't have my original birth certificate, I've made that clear on other broadcasts, but I do remember what it looked like. It's, and in fact, I can hold up this is Obama's original birth certificate. Anybody could make this. It's just basically typing on a piece of paper. It ain't like the paper is some kind of, camouflage-proof paper or nothing. You're talking about birth certificates from the 1950s and shit. I was born in the early 70s. Anybody can make that stuff. You go to whatever they have now as a Kinko's, I guess a UPS or whatever replaced Kinko's. Anybody could go in there with print shop and make that. So if they start saying that illegal immigrants have registered to vote with fake documents, how could you prove them wrong?
Because whenever you register to vote, they match your data to what the state records have.
Yeah, but
all those databases they have access to.
Yeah, but if you go in and register to vote with your original birth certificate, which is going to be from, probably the 80s on back, like I said, anybody could recreate that document. That's not exactly a foolproof document. I mean, you're giving them that to show who you are. If when you walk out, they, later deem your document as a fraudulent document and cancel your registration, what's the next step?
By this, they're going to probably tell you have to start all over again.
Yeah, and that's something I want to ask you, and I'll certainly ask the audience as well. Over the last month or two, by way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks have actively checked and ensured your voter registration was still active? Within the last month or two. I know you voted in the 2024 election, but people do get their registration deactivated. How many of you folks done it? Because I'm gonna go, go out and
my state resends out a copy of your voter card to your residents. They make sure that and it tells you like what's your affiliation, what district you're in, and where's your polling place.
So they send it to you as a registered voter. That's not something they're sending to you to get registered. They're sending that to you after you've been registered.
After you've been registered.
Okay. Do you know, like, when do they send that out?
They send it out periodically when they know that there's an election coming up.
Right. The reason I'm asking that is because there could, if it's a gap in time, okay, the midterms are in November. Let's say they send that card out in June. There's a I'm saying to continue verifying that you're active because something may happen from the time they send that card out to you to the time you go in and vote.
Well, aside from you getting arrested, not arrested.
Your documents are fake. We went through and determined that, even though we sent the card out, a second investigation came to the conclusion that you registered with fake documents. Your documents are fake. That's why we deactivated your reservation or your registration.
If they deem that your documents are fake, shouldn't they arrest you because by then you probably already voted at least once or twice. They should be able to see if you already voted. If your documents are fake, are they gonna come in and arrest you saying you've been illegally voting?
That's a good question. They should arrest you, but keep in mind, MAGA sent a hell of a lot of illegals voted. Ain't nobody been arrested for that, and people believe it. So
they say that because they say a lot of dumb shit like straight talks. But guess what? Every time they've done an investigation, who's the one that magically gets found out? Like the one where they was talking about that lady who registered her dog as a voter.
Yeah,
she was Republican and she got caught and arrested.
I'm just telling you, MAGA has pointed out that tons of folks have voted illegally, and there's been no arrest for the overwhelming majority of that stuff, and they still believe that it happened. So when you ask, should the person who gave fraudulent documents be arrested, the answer is no.
You want to know why they believe that? Because they believe that they're the majority. They can't fathom how did they lose. It had to be cheating.
No, they believe. MAGA genuinely believes illegal immigrants did vote. That's the whole purpose of the Save America Act, is to prevent illegals from voting. They do believe this is a legitimate problem.
But Tim, how many investigations have come up and they've been dismissed in the courts? Over 60. Not to mention like the ones that like Kerry Lake and those other ones who keep going back talking about no, it was this, it was that.
Bro, but the courts ruled against Trump, but they believe that the judges were liberal. Or MAGA React says the judge didn't listen to all of the Trump's case. They didn't listen to the case entirely.
There were Trump-appointed judges who ruled against them.
Well, their point, MAGA React's point is they only listened. They didn't let them. They didn't let them present enough evidence and things like that.
The only evidence they have is a court of public opinion. They don't have any physical evidence.
I'm with you. I do believe they are short on evidence, but I'm just simply saying the right side of the aisle believes that what Trump said is a legitimate point, that illegals did vote, and he lost in court because the judges did not give him a fair shake. That is what they believe.
Oh, but Tim, remember, before then, it was the Dominion machines were changing votes. Now it's, illegals are voting, and that's why we're losing.
Yeah. They got a host of reasons why they believe it happened. I'm not denying that. They got a host of reasons why they believe it happened, but they do believe widespread fraud was taking place.
So these elections now where they're losing by, as Trump say, landslides, is that because illegals are voting? Because remember, like this is, like they're in charge. Like state level, well, it was state level, but state and federal level, like they were in charge of these areas, and they're losing now.
Well, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, they're only concerned with the elections that Trump is concerned with. And Trump is only concerned with the Senate, Congress, governors, and the president. So all these down ballot races, or even some of the representative races you're talking about, Trump ain't making a big stink over it, so neither are they.
No, Trump made it. Trust me, he's he's already endorsed some of these people, but when they lost, he does his magical thing. Well, I really didn't know that person.
Yeah, so he's not making a stink over it. If he made a stink over it and said they lost because the liberals lied or there was fraud, the MAGA side of the aisle would care more about it. He's not making a stink over it, therefore they're not complaining about it.
What he does is he makes excuses.
And he's good.
Remember, in their eyes, Trump can't lose at anything, but if he did lose, somehow somebody cheated him out of something.
Yeah. And I see in the comments, Angry Patriot said to bring up the video of Nick Shirley interviewing the clerk in California about voting. I have seen that video, but I'm a little hesitant on Nick Shirley because of the bias. It would be, that's why, hold on, hang on a second. That's the reason why when I showed you the clip from The View, I made it clear I'm not going to put their opinions or anything in it because I know they're biased. Nick Shirley is like playing an MSNBC video. He is completely biased. I wouldn't play CNN interview somebody because I know you guys on the right wouldn't agree with it. Well, Nick Shirley's the same thing for the right. Go ahead.
About Nick Shirley, that video was already debunked. And remember what I told you about that lady who registered her dog that he was talking about?
Yeah.
She was Republican. And she got caught and prosecuted.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the reason I'm not playing the guy is because of the same reason I don't play left-wing outfits is because the person is biased. Nick Shirley is as far to the right as, you know, the Hannitys, all of those folks. I mean, he's pretty much a right-wing commentator at this point. So, yeah, I'm not going to pretend like that
Straight
if...
Talks, what proof do you have? Stop saying bullshit.
What are you talking about?
He keeps saying that Gavin Newsom knows that illegals are voting in there. There's no proof.
I mean, even if what he's saying, even if what he is saying is true, and I don't believe, I agree with you, but even if Gavin Newsom did know that illegals are voting in this state, you gotta prove it. It's actually gotta come with proof, and there is no proof of that. And like I said, taking the word of Nick Shirley is like me trying to get you to take the word of some liberal. You're not gonna do it. So Nick Shirley falls in the same category. You can't tell me to listen to right-wingers when you don't listen to left-wingers. So I try to respect everybody by not playing clips from, you know, biased commentators. Nick Shirley is one of those.
And you want to know why Gavin Newsom said that? Because you got people like Steve Bannon talking about putting ICE at voting booths, which is completely illegal.
Yeah. And we did play that clip of him talking about surrounding all of the voting booths. And of course, once again, you know, if they put ICE at voting booths, it's only going to be in Democrat areas. If you go vote, if you're voting in a predominantly red district, there's not going to be any ICE surrounding that. So the whole notion of providing voter security looks biased because you're only assuming that only Democrats cheat. So if a Republican finds out how to cheat the same way the Democrat is, you don't have anything stopping him because you're not in his neighborhood. So the whole way they're securing it looks biased.
Not to mention, he says, why are we so bothered by it? We're bothered by it because you already have to prove it to get registered. What part of that don't you understand? To register, you have to prove your citizenship. And you also have to prove that you don't have a criminal record.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm more concerned with them going through the documents of registered voters and suddenly saying you don't have enough documents on file. So suddenly your registration has been taken away and you need to come back with more documents or something like that. And then running into basically a wall of folks saying the documents you're presenting, we either think they're fraudulent or they don't measure up.
How is voter rolls all skewed up? Now you're making up bullshit.
Oh, well, I'm with you. I would like to see some proof. I do got to move it on, James, but it would be better if they prove some of the statements they're making as opposed to just throwing wild things out there, and then we got to go off chasing that in the night. Show us what you're saying is based on real-world fraudulent stuff, and they just have not been doing that. So we're literally chasing our tail with this. James, thanks for coming through.
No problem, Tim.
Appreciate it. All right, looking in the comments here, every state was almost red. That ain't true. That's not true. If you remove the people out of every state, it would go red. I'll agree with that part. The overwhelming majority of states in the least populated areas, They are red. That is true. You know, you look at counties that got 20,000 people or less, all of that shit is mostly red. That is true. But when you look at places that have, 300,000 people or more, most of that is blue. So, yeah, the state is red, but the people in it are different. Even when you look at states like Texas and Florida, you start looking at the urban areas, it starts turning a lot more blue. Now, I believe there was a lot of Hispanics in Florida, for instance, that voted for Trump. That ain't gonna happen this go around. I certainly don't expect that to happen anymore. So the big cities are almost all blue, with the exception when you get way down the list. I think we've done videos on this. The top 50 largest cities in America. I think you got to get down to number 15, which was Oklahoma City last time I remember. You got to go to number 15 before you find a city that's ran by a Republican administration. And obviously, Oklahoma City, in terms of biggest cities in America, you would definitely realize it's down the list. I mean, it's not a Philadelphia or a DC or Seattle-sized city. It's starting to get smaller. You got to go down the list before you find Republican. I think out of the top 50 largest cities, only 9 of them were ran by Republican administrations when I did the video about a year ago. Only 9 of them. Only 9 of them. And out of the top 10 largest cities in America, I think there was one that had an independent administration. But I think out of all the top 10, all of those are Democrat. All of them are. So where the people are, it's blue. Yeah, if it's 10 of y'all that hold, a bunch of acres of land and y'all on a ranch, yeah, you guys may be Republican. And there's good reason why. You want your firearms to be able to shoot coyotes and wild boars and shit. I get it. But for folks who live in urban areas, it's overwhelmingly dark blue. In the comments, Elbow Sausage, that's a hell of a name, says, if you still support him, you are the problem. Who is him? The shrines of Trump and Vance and the tiny don't tread on me has me dying, bro. Well, nothing wrong with that. I don't know about a shrine. I got a shrine of Vance? What is a shrine? Because when I had up her picture, which was exactly where Vance's picture is, was that a shrine of Kamala Harris when her picture used to be up there? And the picture of Biden? You want their pictures back up? Vote for them. It's not a shrine. But I appreciate the input. California's driver's license isn't recognized in states like Texas for the amount of fraud, says Angry Patriot. Well, if Texas does not recognize the I don't know why this came up. If Texas does not recognize the driver's license in California, folks who keep saying, well, what's wrong with having voter ID? Nothing wrong with that. Then that means the people in California, their ID is not going to be enough to vote. So, and that's why I've been trying to tell folks from day one, don't let people tell you that it's just making sure everybody who vote has an ID. It's more than that. Because you may have a legitimate ID that still don't qualify you to vote. Requiring you prove you're a citizen is a lot more than just providing an ID. They're not the same. But the right is making it say, oh, we just want to make sure you got an ID. No, you don't. You want more than that. Looking in the comments, no politician, red or blue, should be idolized. I agree with that. And here's a statement I really agree with. Jesse, even though Jesse said dude's a disgrace to his race, I agree with it 100%. Your statement saying make IDs free. I absolutely believe that. If you're going to push so hard that everybody has an ID and things like that, because they did pass an amendment that makes it so it's illegal to charge or cost money to vote. This stuff will cost money. People trying to get these documents, married women trying to produce documents that show their maiden name. It will cost people money. It's guaranteed it's going to cost money. Just make the ID free. In my opinion, as I say often on the program, and I'll go back to the box, tap the screen. We should be around 50,000. Get us up to 40,000, tap the screen. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, certainly going to ask you guys to tap the like button. It helps out the algorithm. You guys know what I want to talk to. I want more MAGA. My MAGA audience is primarily on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, tap that like button. Doesn't cost you a cent to do so. Tap that like button if you're watching on YouTube. But my opinion is this. If you get pulled over by the cops, they can ascertain whether you're an American citizen or not in about 10 minutes. The government already knows who the citizens are and who are not. I don't believe it's necessary to make the average voter come in with all kinds of documents. They know already. You could have 4 or 5 cops, sheriffs, whatever you want to say, or just people with access to the actual data sitting at the polling place. And for people who don't have money or wasn't able to go out and get the documents, you could ask them a few questions and quickly tell if they're an American or not. What's your social security number? Just about all adults remember that. You read off your social security number, and then they can go through your report and ask you questions that's on your report that only you would know. And I know this because I've lost my social security card. And when I went to get another one, presenting an ID was not, they needed to know if I was who I said I was. They ask you questions that only you would know. You know, in 1995, you bought an SUV and they give you 4 or 5 answers. What was your note? They ask you questions like that. You mortgaged a house. You know, I think one of mine was one of the properties on me. You mortgaged the property. What bank gave you the loan? And they give you 3 or 4 addresses of where the place was. Unless you really got somebody's shit on memory, you're not gonna remember all that stuff. And certainly, if you want to commit fraud, you're only gonna be able to do it on behalf of one person. You're not gonna remember all that shit from several people. So they ask questions that only I would remember. And then I still had to have my driver's license. That would be simple enough. You show up with your ID and you get questioned like that. For people who don't want to bring in all the documents or don't have them, have somebody there that can do that. Law enforcement could quickly find out if you're a citizen. You don't need to bring in all kinds of fucking documents. That's a hurdle that is done deliberately because it requires work and some cost to it. But it ain't necessary. Anyway, look at it in the comments, but I totally agree with the viewers suggesting that it should just be free. It should just be free. You can have folks, if they want, put your fingerprint and your face scan on record. If you're against privacy concerns, then you don't have to be one of those. But for folks who don't want to have to require all kinds of documents, we're going to let them put their fingerprint on file and do a face scan of them. When they show up to vote, they'll put their fingerprint on some type of glass that reads it, and they'll stare into a camera that looks at their. That's all you need. That would be all you need. That person don't need to bring in a ton of documents anymore. That would be all you need, and it would be done. Looking in the comments, getting a real ID already has people getting their documents together. So point of discussion is not valid. Cost only involved if you need to get copies of documents you lost or did not from parents. Well, you're wrong about that. Did you just not hear one of the viewers already said California IDs are not being accepted by Texas? Real IDs do not guarantee you from every state to be able to register. You are wrong about that. Having a real ID from every state because the Trump administration believes that some of the liberal states are not legit. They're not going to accept real IDs. That alone ain't going to do it. Let me go back to the box. But he's basically saying you used your documents to get a real ID. So the real ID proves your citizenship. I'm saying that they believe that in states like California, they're letting people get those driver's licenses that don't have the right to get them. So they don't trust that stuff. Let me go back to the box. Straight Talk. Good evening, Straight Talk comments. Hard Dog says this dude is a Trump hater. Yikes. I guess said the same thing about the liberals. Straight Talk, good evening.
What's up?
Not much at all.
If y'all would stop acting so damn sus around voting, we might come together a little bit on this.
You think we're the ones that you think the liberals?
You liberals act so damn sus around voting. It is just hysterical.
And it's in the right ain't doing nothing that's sus around voting, huh?
We say go through the voter rolls, clean it up, make sure all the dead folks are off of it. We say, hey, let's bring both sides in to count those votes. Let's match up signatures with a vote. So in other words, you can either use your fingerprint or you can use a signature. Let's match up those signatures to the voter
wait a
registration.
minute. You really want to use signature match in 2026? You really think that's an accurate?
We can use fingerprint. Hey, we use facial recognition, fingerprint, however you want to do it. But y'all act so damn sus. You act like, listen, we all know that illegal immigrants come in, about 20 million of them came into this country, jacked up the census, gave you guys more seats and more in the House. We know that. We got it.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
We are on to you. And you brought them in here. You tax them, right? They pay.
How did they How did they jack up the census for just the Democrats? So all the illegals that are in Texas and other Republican areas, it didn't affect their census?
They congregate in blue areas. You just said it yourself.
No, not all of them.
You've got a bunch of illegals in here. Because you sanctuary, you give them sanctuary and you hide them because they're your personal. I don't want to use the word slave, but you could. Because you don't give them any representation in your government.
Why do you think this is only a Democrat thing? Didn't Bush state?
Because that's who y'all are. That's what y'all do.
So
do not give them any representation in your government.
But wait a minute.
Don't allow them to vote.
When George Bush said they do jobs no Americans want, he was favorable to letting immigrants stay. Have you forgotten about him?
There is no jobs that Americans won't do.
Then why did you criticize Bush?
My father was a garbage man. You name a job Americans won't do. Go ahead.
Well, I agree with you if you pay them properly, but even Reagan gave immigrants amnesty.
Yeah, you know why you don't pay them properly? You know why you ain't getting paid properly?
Greed.
Because you brought in 15 million illegal immigrants to do it for cheaper. That's why.
Okay, come
on, let's be smart about this.
No, but what you're saying is inaccurate. You're saying that they don't pay them properly because they brought in 15 million as if before the hold on. So based on what you're saying, you're saying they don't pay them properly because we brought in 15 million. So that means before Biden came in and let all these immigrants in the country, we used to pay them properly, huh? This only started happening recently. So if you go back to the 80s and 90s, we were paying immigrants properly is what you're saying.
What I'm saying to you is you've had a screwed up immigration policy since Reagan. No one's made any change to immigration policy since Reagan. And you have had illegal immigrants come into this country faster than we can get them out. No one is denying that.
No, I'm not denying that. I'm denying your claim that we don't pay them properly because I'm denying your claim that we don't pay them properly because we let 15. We haven't paid immigrants properly since we've been founded as a fucking nation. Every group of immigrants that came to this country, hear me out. Every group of immigrants from the Irish to the Hispanics to the Chinese, we paid all of them improperly. What the hell are you talking about?
No, you've never watched my podcast, have you?
Apparently not.
Educate yourself on my podcast. Listen, here's what you do, okay? You stop bringing in a bunch of illegal immigrants. Stop that. Close down your border. Start deporting people that you are not planning on making citizens because we need citizens here. We do not need illegal immigrants. You start going through your voter rolls and you call the people that are not qualified to vote. You allow both sides of the political parties in when you count those votes. Guess what? You'll start having free and fair elections that nobody can deny. You leave so much room for the right to deny you because you refuse them access to when you count the votes. It happens in Florida, Georgia, California.
You can always find a reason to deny that the voting process is fair. I don't care what you do. Somebody because when they had the votes, they allowed them to watch the voting process in Atlanta or in Fulton County, and then they had them stand 25 feet back. Well, we want to stand 6 feet back. I mean, so you're going to find a way.
Why do we need to stand 25 feet back? You guys act so damn sus.
Who the hell want to?
I stand shoulder to shoulder with you. Why can't I help you count these ballots?
Because it ain't your fucking job. I don't go on your job and demand. No, it's not.
It's my job to make sure.
No, it's not.
Okay. Then guess what? Then you're going to have me and a bunch of my redneck buddies telling you ain't had free and fair elections. One or the other.
Well,
one or the other.
Well, the point is, you can't make the rules so they satisfy you. Okay, 25 feet is too. Well,
No,
6.
no. You should look in the mirror when you say that.
I'm just saying.
Tim, you
so
can't make rules.
You can't.
That just
You cannot.
you.
This is the same way. So now you're 6 feet back, and the next guy say my eyesight is not bad. I want to sit next to you. You can't just keep doing. You making it like we got to do everything you say. Otherwise, you're gonna say we cheating.
Yes, that is correct. You are right. We agree. If you do not start making this fair, you are cheating.
That ain't
By
about
definition. By definition, if you refuse to make it fair, you are cheating.
That ain't telling me I got to do everything.
Yeah.
No, telling me I got to do everything you want. Otherwise, I'm cheating. That ain't nothing fair about that.
No.
You just said it.
True.
You just said it.
Tim, I'm saying I want you to treat me and my party the way you and your party would like to be treated. I'm saying if you would like to haul your ass to a red area and you and some of your blue buddies want to come and count ballots next to Jim Bob and Billy Bob and Sharon, then you're welcome to do that. You should have equal access to those.
Here's what I want.
You don't want that.
No,
I know that.
I'm going to tell you what I want. What I want is if you see something wrong that you know is fraudulent, for you to present that as proof. Don't just as you just said. No, hear me out. No, you didn't hear what I said. You just made it clear. You're still not hearing. You're still not hearing what I'm saying. You made it clear that if they say stand 25 feet back and you want to be 6 feet back, you're going to say, well, we're cheating. You don't have any proof of it. They just aren't doing what you want, so you're going to instantly throw in there that they got to be cheating in. So,
hey, Tim, I tell you what. How about you do this? How about you count the ballots, and then you turn those ballots over to the red team and let the red team count the ballots. If you didn't do anything wrong, guess what? You should be free and clear. If you got a blue, if you think these areas are blue, you shouldn't have a problem with that. And if
ain't that what they do?
Hold on. If you'd like the red team to go first, we'd be glad to count them first for you. Because y'all bad at counting.
No,
that's what it is.
No, what
y'all are silly and bad
I disagree.
at counting.
I disagree with what you're wanting. What I suggest is you guys count the votes together. Because if I count them,
I got it. Hey, I said that.
No, that ain't what you said. You said I count them and then you count them.
No. You said I would want. Look, I'm not happy with 25 feet back. Fuck you and that. That ain't happening. I don't want to be 6 feet back. Screw you and 6 feet back.
Isn't there some privacy concerns? I mean, you can't just see everybody's information, can you?
Hey, listen, if you don't tell nobody, I won't tell anybody either.
I'm
not asking you to reveal who you voted for. I'm asking you to stop fucking cheating. That's what I'm asking.
And I'm asking you to present some proof.
If you can ask me for that, prove it, then I'll ask you to prove the vote count.
Well, here's the problem I don't like. Okay, you don't like that you're being told to stand 25 feet back and all of this other shit. You're only in hold on. You're only in Democrat areas complaining about cheating. If the election is so relaxed that people can cheat, why is there an assumption that no Republicans are doing it?
Hey, listen, if you think that I would be upset for the Democrats to come into red areas and count those ballots and satisfy themselves that we counted correctly, you're wrong.
That ain't what I'm asking.
I'm tired of being a precinct captain in my area and being told that I can't observe a public election. That's what I'm tired of.
Yeah, that's not what I'm asking.
Even in blue areas, you have red people that are looking and observing what the fuck y'all are up to. I already know how y'all cheat.
That ain't what I'm asking. What I'm saying, for instance, you guys suggested Dominion voting machines could switch votes. Where's all the? You going to tell me that they can't switch votes from Biden to Trump? The assumption. Hold on, hang on. The assumption is that 100% of the. Have you heard Trump's been on the scene for 10 years now? He came down the Golden Escalator in 2015. Has he ever mentioned a Republican cheating in an election? One time. Has he ever mentioned that?
Tim, Dominion voting.
That's not an answer.
Designed. how about you let me answer the question? You said something, I want to answer that, and then I'm going to move to Trump. Why in the hell would Trump talk about his own party cheating?
Oh, so he's okay with that?
No, he's not okay.
So if his party cheated, wait. So if his party cheats, he's not going to say nothing about it because they're Republican. If his party, according to you, you asked why would he talk about his own party? So according to you, so if his party cheats, he's not going to discuss it, huh?
Why would he mention it? You're here to do that. You over here crying about the red team cheating.
Mike, what did you want, Mike?
What's going on, Tim?
I don't know. I'm in the trenches.
Are you having someone take my time?
No, you got time, goddammit.
0.00085% of voter fraud is in this country, and it's been like that for decades.
Who's counting, Mike?
We've never had a substantial. The same
Who's counting that? Because I argue.
The same system. I'm answering your question. The same system that's been counting it for decades. It hasn't changed. The very same system that's been counting for over 30 years has the same percentage. It's never been over 8% ever.
Mike,
I'm gonna tell you what has been.
Answer my question.
I'll tell you what has been over a percent. What's been over a percent? We've had over 1 to 1.5% of people removed from voter rolls in error. 1 to 1.5% of people being removed from voter rolls in error, which is greater than the documented fraud.
Okay, but let me hear his question. To make sure we get your question answered, straight talk. Give me the question again.
Yeah. He's not going to be able to answer this, but who's counting? According to whose stats? Because that isn't what I've got. And so now, here you go. You just made a claim that I disagree with. How do we figure that out?
Okay, before he answered that, straight talk, I got to tell you this. If you're saying it's not according to your stats, does what Trump says about the election, does that fit your stats? The Dominion.
Well, you didn't let me address the Dominion voting machines. Do you know why Dominion became a company? Do you know what Dominion voting systems did? Do you know why they are a company?
I don't know if that has anything to do with what...
Let me educate you. Let me tell you, okay? They were there to rig elections. They rigged the Venezuelan election. They did the El Salvadorian election. That's what their whole gig was when they were owned by the previous owners, Tim. They went around the world and told people that we will help you rig your elections. That is what Dominion voting is famous for. So please...
And where are you getting this information? And where are you getting this information from?
And it doesn't surprise me that you don't know this information.
It don't surprise me that you don't know the shit Mike just mentioned either. Where are you getting your information from?
Listen, I've heard him say stuff like this before, not him personally, but I've heard the left say that before.
I ain't never heard the right say something as crazy as what you just said.
To back that up with.
So what you're saying is Dominion's goal was to rig elections in America, hire them anyway?
Yes. Exactly right.
Right. So then that means the Trump administration fucked up because the election we're discussing happened under his watch.
Guess what? You're exactly right. That's why his base was extremely angry when his election got cheated. He knew for months y'all were going to do that shit.
How could we do something when he was in control and he hired Dominion, which you saying are fraudulent? He could have got rid of them.
Hired Dominion. Let me stop you there. He didn't hire Dominion, but he allowed people to use those Dominion systems.
What's the difference? If you know the machines are fraudulent,
you're hiring them and bringing them in.
If you according to you, that don't make any sense. According to you, the machines were known to be fraudulent, and yet Trump still allowed Americans to vote on them. How does he not get held responsible for that?
Because there was nothing that he could do about it.
Bullshit.
We were in the middle.
He wasn't even mentioning this.
We were in the middle of a pandemic. So they did a lot of mail-in ballots. No, I don't know if you were here for that, but we had a thing called COVID-19.
Wait.
So the election that you guys cheated,
that don't make any sense.
Candidate in a basement somewhere, and our candidate was out trying to run an election.
That don't make any sense. First of all, you known for a while that these machines are fraudulent according to you. You should have been screaming this out before the pandemic even became an issue.
What we absolutely
I don't recall hearing Trump saying a damn thing in 2015. So you're saying, wait.
Gaslighting son of a, you know what?
So you're saying in 2016, 2017, Trump was talking about Dominion voting machines?
Are you telling me?
I'm asking a question.
I'm answering the damn question. You're going to sit here in front of all these people
comfortably
and tell me that you did not sue Dominion Voting Systems, did not sue the Trump administration, and in particular Rudy Giuliani and I can't remember.
That is years.
Powell.
That is years later.
You didn't hear anything about that.
That is years later. I'm saying in 2016.
No. While it was going on. Oh, here we go.
That didn't happen. So
yeah, that did happen. It did happen. Go ahead.
Let's be clear about Dominion, because the Dominion is a company that sued the Trump administration
for lying.
And they won.
No.
They sued Fox. They sued Fox. They sued Tucker Carlson. They sued Newsmax.
And I need you guys to straight talk. That's what I'm gonna need.
Yeah. I didn't interrupt you at all. So let's go back to this voter. Let's go back to this voter fraud. It's 0.000. You insert whatever number you want. It's not even 0.1%. You insert whatever number you want, and if I'm wrong, show me. Because election country
they don't like straight talk. Go ahead. I don't know.
That is you doing the lying. You just got violated for misinformation, Mike.
No, that was you, straight talk. That was you.
Because I hadn't said anything.
That was you, straight talk.
That was you, not me. That was you now.
That was you. Straight talk. Wait, hold on, Mike. Straight talk. I let liberals know because my other guest has some. Look, it happens against the grandma shit. That was you. I don't lie. Who's getting fucking violated? That was you.
This man to man. I am the only person you have, and to my knowledge, that you have ever tag teamed someone in. So I would like an answer as to why that is. Why would you bring someone into our conversation when I have never seen you do that before?
I don't do it very often.
If you need the help, let me make some suggestions to you. Okay, next time you need the help, I'll make a couple suggestions.
Oh, they took somebody out. What happened? Who dropped? Both of them. What the fuck? They may have suspended the live because of what happened. They don't make it so I can't bring lives up. I might have to appeal it. I can run the program, but they really didn't like straight talk. And here's what's odd. TikTok is now run by the Trump administration to some degree. I won't say Trump himself is not running it, but it's Trump-friendly people that run TikTok. And straight talk is obviously MAGA. We don't mind them coming up. We bring them up every day, damn near. I don't know why they done that, but they just made it so that if I appeal it, I'm likely to win pretty quick because this is a big ass account. But they did take it off, and the live is still going. First time I've ever had this happen, where they took the live down, kept the live up, but took the guest out. So I guess they want to see how talented I am on my own. I don't know why they did that. Looking in the comments, though, and yeah, thank you, Yo-Yo. I don't bring up two people very often, so Straight Talk does have a legitimate point. I don't normally do it. I just did it on a whim that one time, because me and Straight Talk has had a host of conversations I've never brought. In fact, 99% of the time, I don't bring anybody up. I think MAGA reacts once we brought somebody up with. It happens occasionally. I think Jeremy wants, I've done it a handful of times. So Straight Talk, consider it a little bit abnormal. So can you guys hear me? They took the volume down too. Folks are saying, can you guys let me know if you can hear? Can you hear the audio? You can't hear me. Okay, I'm gonna have to reset my TikTok. I'm up. If you're watching me on Instagram or YouTube, let me see if I can figure this out. If you're watching me on Instagram or YouTube, don't worry about it. We're going to continue as normal, but let me see if I can figure out what the hell they done on TikTok. Crazy shit. Yes, it's telling me I can go live. So I don't think I would have to even appeal it. You have no sound on TikTok. Yeah, Handsome Conservative. I'm trying to reset it. We're going to see. I'm just going to run it again and see what happens. That's crazy. Get more views of live. I don't want to do that. Just hit OK. And we'll see if people come back over there. They can't hear you. Yeah, Evil B, Boo. Yeah, we try to see. I'm resetting it to see what happens. But obviously it's something TikTok related. It's obviously something TikTok related. So let me see what happens. TikTok gotcha, says Alter Ego. Yeah, I'm resetting it to see what happens though. I've never had it go down like that. Mike, let me know. I see Mike in the comments. Let me know if you can hear me. It looks like they've taken down the multi, because I still can't bring up guests. Look like that's what they've done, is they've done something to the multi guest. I don't know if they normally they actually put you on a temporary ban or something like that. It's weird that they would take the guest out. I'm trying to see, otherwise it may end up being something where we may have to wait time or something. It says that was for misinformation. Yeah, the misinformation thing is what they got it for. You start talking about Dominion voting machines and stuff like that. Only TikTok, because we're currently live on Instagram and all the other apps, in no violations. YouTube ain't said shit. Neither has Substack, any of the other applications we're running live on. It's always only TikTok. The censorship on TikTok is crazy. I don't know why, but the censorship on TikTok is really bad. I don't know, now that it's in the hands of a Trump-friendly person, maybe they'll do it like X and open it up. But I'm trying to see if there's anything that allows me to reset it. I mean, I could go on the backup page, but I kind of don't even want to on this particular conversation. It is because the truth hurts the algorithm. It ain't hurting the algorithm on all the other pages, though. Straight Talk, I see you in the comments. All the other pages are up, running fine. It didn't fuck with them at all. Survive says TikTok went full MAGA. Could be. I don't know. And look, I don't have any doubt that Trump is not pro free speech. Just like we were mentioning with the election, and Straight Talk admitted, Trump is not concerned with Republican fraud. He's also not concerned with negative speech that is in his favor. He's only concerned with stuff that goes against him. So if you're speaking against liberals, you can say any fucking thing you want, even if it's not true. It's just he don't want you saying bad things about him. The same thing with voter fraud. DJ Julio, appreciate that. Thank you, DJ Julio. Same thing with voter fraud. Trump is not concerned with Republican fraud. He could care less about it. If there are legitimate stories that have come out of Republicans caught committing voter fraud, Fox, Newsmax, OE, don't even tell you about it. It's 100% not, literally convicted of it. Don't even cover it. Totally irrelevant. So the idea that this is about somehow making sure the integrity of the election is free and fair, no, it's not. No, it's not. We want to make sure Democrats don't cheat. Republicans cheat, we don't care about that. That's what it's about. We want to make sure the Democrats don't do anything wrong. If the Republicans do it, we don't care. Then you're not for free and fair elections. And like I said, you actually have Republicans that have been caught, been convicted for doing it. And the Republican Party didn't cover it. You need to move convos to Discord and just stream on the other platforms. Discord, huh? I'm open to that. I'm certainly open to that. They came for who first? Don't know about that. And in the comments, Robert says Tim is lying again, but you don't say as to what. Awesome points for the Dems here. Yeah. Bro, take the stupid ass sign down. If Trump was right, fix this economy, motherfucker. Well, you got to give him time there, Sunsnup or whatever your name is. But did you just hear what you said? They have been caught and prosecuted for it. Yeah, and they didn't care about it. They had to be caught, and then there's a period of time before they get prosecuted and convicted. That's normally when, if a Democrat gets caught cheating and they're going to trial, and that's normally when it's all over right-wing media. Wasn't covered at all from the right. You trying to defend that? You trying to say somehow that's the right thing to do? It's to only cover Democrat fraud? You're actually trying to defend that, huh? Should open up calls to YouTube. Yeah, I wish YouTube would allow me to do that because that's where most of my MAGA is. YouTube doesn't have the feature. YouTube does not have the feature. Instagram, Substack does, but YouTube does not have that feature. Unfortunately, like I said, I can't. Everybody's telling me to flip the screen on YouTube, but unfortunately, I cannot bring up calls. It's something that'll probably be corrected. You know, sometimes they do it for a day or two. They didn't allow me to appeal like normally you appeal and whatever, because there's people pissed off. That's all it is. It's usually folks when MAGA's being criticized, liberals are hating. When liberals are being criticized, like when Gangsta Grandma comes up, she gets flagged all the time. That ain't coming from liberals. And then let's say Straight Talk gets up there and he's getting flagged. That ain't coming from MAGA. So both sides do it. Don't ever let somebody tell you that only Democrats are about cancel culture. The right does it. I mean, go ask Taylor Swift. Go ask the Dixie Chicks. The right will cancel you too. DJ Julio, yeah. Thank you for the hat mustache. Yep, both sides will do it. Both sides are capable of cancel culture. All the money I gained from fart I lost on Hulk, which I don't have any question. I don't have any answer for that. Jordan says, I can't believe what I'm seeing. What the fuck? What are you seeing, Jordan? ABC company does not have that feature. I don't know about it. What are you talking about ABC? You actually believe Trump is a good person, says Richard. I don't think MAGA believes Trump is a good person. I think MAGA believes Trump is a good president, a good businessman, but no, I don't think anybody believes Trump is a good person, so to speak. I mean, he's multiple wives, multiple affairs. I don't think they see him as a good person. They see him as a good politician for the country. So we'll leave it at that. We need both of them back up here. Straight Talk is passionate. Mike comes with receipts. Next time we'll keep them separate. Straight Talk wants his time. I get it. But him and Mike would certainly make for very good counterpoints. Obviously, I disagree with a lot of things Straight Talk said. A lot of things that Straight Talk said. But look, the man has a right to speak, and we certainly will protect that as long as we can on the program. But I can't do shit about the apps doing their own thing. What does it say? Invite co-host. Okay, I don't want to co-host with anybody. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how to do it. I would try to reset. I know the backup line will work, but I don't want to bring it up for this. But look it in the comments. So we'll talk our way through it and let you guys ask questions. We'll certainly do that as well. Should definitely have a good person as a president. And Americans should accept nothing less. But this is what we get when we hire a bad businessman. Damn, Garrett. Well, I will tell you this. I don't think there's any denying that Trump has lowered the bar for what we'll accept as a good president. I'm absolutely certain that if Obama was trolling all over the internet and stuff like that, MAGA would not have favored it. But now that Trump is doing it, you know, you shouldn't be a snowflake. You should be able to handle that. Pay attention to what he says, not what he does. Or what he does, not what he says. The whole status quo of what we should accept from a president has changed because MAGA's going to defend Trump no matter what he does. So, like the post of his adversaries as jungle animals and things like that. That shouldn't be acceptable from any president. Same thing with dumping shit on protest. You shouldn't be using a presidential account to do that stuff. And that would not have been a fan. I don't think MAGA would have been a fan of any liberal president doing that stuff. But the problem, and I'll tell you something, here's the problem with all of this, is that there will come a day, as long as the republic, the democracy remains intact, there will come a day when you have a liberal president in office and Trump supporters, Republicans, and MAGA are going to be in a position of, you really can't complain about much because you defended like the insults, the name calling, swearing on TV. Like there's a lot of things a future liberal president can do now that MAGA can't complain about. The narcissism, naming facilities after you, family involved in business deals. I mean, there's so many things. A president with his own cryptocurrency, selling cars on the White House line. I mean, we've allowed so many things to happen on the right that if you get somebody on the left, you've removed a lot of things that you normally would have complained about. a lot of things. They're going to be able to play Fox News, Jesse Waters, and all them defending a lot of things that they have complained about in the past and no longer will be able to complain about in the future. I mean, there's a ton of that stuff there. So I don't know how that's going to work in the future. Certainly, even with the Epstein stuff, maybe there's another criminal in the future. In the liberal government is slow to provide evidence. Well, you guys were okay when he was doing it with Epstein. I mean, you're going to hear so many whataboutisms coming from the left that are going to be legitimate of things that we ignore from Trump. I don't know what the right are going to be able to complain about anymore. Because if you have a guest on your show like the five are outnumbered, and the one liberal says, "Well, why are you complaining about it now when you didn't complain it about against Trump?" I suppose we're going to have to come up with some kind of reason. Well, maybe we were just in a time warp, or maybe we were just so in love with his economy we let him get away. It's going to be something like that because we've let him get away with so much stuff. I just don't know. I mean, I just don't know. Even when you complain about liberals taking down statues and monuments, well, he started doing that too. So what can the left possibly do now that the right has a legitimate complaint about that they can't bring up? Well, you're okay when Trump did it. Handsome conservative, you can't have a request come up in a box because it's not letting me. The icon for where the box is, they grayed it out. So it's not even giving me the option. So that's what I'm saying. I can't even see it there. What monuments did he take down? Well, we talked about it, and since we got a quick minute, if you're not aware of Trump taking down monuments and things like that, and like I said, it depends on where you get your news from, because it makes sense that you would ask that question. I mean, the right-wing media is not going to tell you that stuff. So yeah, what did he take down? Well, they're not going to tell you what he did. But I'll see if I can let you know.
In December, Trump added his own name, of course, to the building. And I suppose that's not much of a surprise when you look at how this administration has been treating Black history artifacts and figures. The Trump administration told the National Museum of African American History and Culture to remove improper ideology and scrub exhibits that focus on systemic racism. Members of the administration have consistently minimized the horrors of slavery and discounted its foundational role in shaping America. Trump also removed memorials honoring enslaved people across the country. And it doesn't really stop at the museums. It's become pretty widespread. The Pentagon mistakenly removed and then had to restore after pushback Jackie Robinson's military biography. The same thing happened with Harriet Tubman's archives in the National Park Service. Trump also ordered national park gift shops to remove items promoting DEI, whatever that means at this point. On top of that, for weeks, he's been...
And then there's stuff about the Tuskegee Airmen and things. I mean, he's removed a lot of shit. So in the state of, the city of Philadelphia, I'll let the clip speak.
President Trump says he wants to restore, quote, truth and sanity to the story of America. But after a slavery exhibit was removed in Philadelphia Thursday, the city is fighting back. Here's Elaine Quijano.
The panels taken down this week in Philadelphia memorialized 9 enslaved people who lived in what was once the executive mansion for President George Washington.
It made me feel sick. We're proud of our history. Part of that pride is acknowledging.
I'm not going to go into her opinion, but fact is he's removed a lot of stuff. And it's only been a year. He's done all this in a year. He's removed all of that stuff. So, like I said, I mean, it's getting to the point where when the liberal comes up there, what can they do where the Liberal Party is not going to say, well, you were okay when Trump did it? I mean, it's going to be a bunch of stuff like that. You're on Messenger. What do you mean Messenger? Like I said, it's not, I don't see what some people have different perspectives on every single event in history. Yeah. Well, you heard President Trump say he wants to bring back truth and sanity to America. And that's the reason why he's removing all this stuff. I don't know what that means. I mean, is it only, tributes to African-American history that is going against truth and sanity? I mean, the Confederate stuff, he's renaming stuff back in favor of that. So why does it appear as if he's only targeting stuff related to the African-American community? I don't know. He said, this stuff is disparaging Americans. He would have to explain it, in my opinion. That's what we would need, is he would have to explain some of this stuff, because I don't understand what he is saying there. Was it actually Trump who made the call, or was it the delegate of the state who made that choice? It's the Interior, it's the Department of the Interior there, because there was an act by Congress in regards to the Philadelphia slavery exhibit. They won the case against Trump, I think like 3 days ago, to have this exhibit put back. They were able to show that Congress passed an act that does not allow anyone to unilaterally take down exhibits in their park or control it. So this came straight from the Trump administration. And there was an act of Congress that said you can't do that. And that's why the judge ruled on it. And now it's coming back. But no, all this stuff is coming from the Trump administration. I just gave you the quote of Trump talking about bringing truth and sanity back to America. They're giving you a reason why they're doing it. So no, it ain't coming from nobody. Now, I understand that MAGA tends to believe that members of Trump's administration can do stuff and Trump is not held responsible for it. Like the whole notion that the Obama as apes video was posted by a staffer. I get that you guys a lot of folks on the right tend to believe that, but your administration are people you put together. Remember, the best and brightest? You are responsible for what your administration does. Because if your administration does things you favor, you're going to take credit for it. So when they fuck up, you get credit for that too. You don't get to separate yourself. I take credit for the good. I don't take credit for the bad. That ain't how it works. If you put in a secretary that does something stupid, that's like Kristi Noem, for instance, talking about Alex Preddy was a domestic terrorist. And he approached the ICE agents with a gun and all, making it sound like he was armed and had a brandishing a weapon. And that's part of your administration. She wouldn't be there unless you hired her. You don't get to separate your, just like Biden. Whatever Biden's administration does that's wrong, he got blamed for it. I don't know what happened to the buck stops here like that. Instagram, Zoom, call your phone. Let's do it. Macca reacts. You crazy. We'll go over to Instagram. We do have a viewer on Instagram. We'll make it happen with Handsome Conservative. But that depends on who you ask. Handsome Conservative. Nice slippers. Good evening.
Hey, what's up, man? I don't know how to work this thing on Instagram. Give me a second.
Well, we can hear you, so that's, I mean, you can put whatever you want to cover up your camera with. We can hear you loud and clear.
All right. So basically, what I was going to say is, I was thinking, I don't know on your other platforms, but Clapper allows you to have 4 people up at one time.
Yeah, we had a.
And they don't pull the shit.
Yeah, I have a Clapper account, but Clapper, I believe, is conservative. And I started, when we posted, they took my account down completely. So Clapper does. I can't go live on Clapper. They did take it down.
Okay, but that's all I wanted to say, because I know TikTok is fucking with you hard.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. That sucks. But I just wanted you to know that I couldn't find a way to request to come up on, what's the other platform you use?
We're on Substack, TikTok, Instagram, which you're on now, and YouTube.
Yeah, Substack doesn't let you bring up people. So, as far as I can tell. If anybody comes on Substack, if you put in the comments, bring me up, because I believe I can do it. But Okay, that's the thing I didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't show on our end.
Okay. All right, well, if I see people in the comments, we'll try and see if we can get Substack to work. Clapper, I really enjoyed Clapper's live, but yeah, Clapper, all of a sudden it stopped working, and then I had some viewers tell me Clapper's really conservative, and if your videos or your comments are critical of Trump, that's probably because somebody told me my whole Clapper, I still have a Clapper account. They said they can't see me anymore on that.
That was me. I said that I follow you on Clapper, but if you don't make posts every so often, I don't know the period of time, you can lose your account.
Yeah. When I post something, when I post
I
a
haven't
short,
seen anything for a month.
yeah, and that's Clapper. Because when I post stuff on Clapper, I'd say for about the last month, all of my videos have 0 views. That's wait, and the ones before that have hundreds of views. So it just suddenly started being 0.
I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen anything from you.
Yeah.
But I was only bringing it up because, dude, honestly, and this is coming from me, TikTok is giving all of your guests a problem. I don't care what side you're on. They're giving, we got to find something that everybody can come and talk to you on. I'm just going to follow you on Substack right now, and that's really all I wanted to say. Also, hey, have you heard about what's going on in the Middle East with sending all those ships?
Yeah, we're about to invade Iran again.
Oh, dude, please, let's do some conversating on that, because I am like, seriously, that's gonna mess with everybody. I don't care what party you are. You should be concerned about that. I know I.
Yeah, that was one of the opening topics we talked about. We certainly talked about that because here's something I'll give you, because that's literally my first clip. I want you to hear this before we separate, because I asked the question of how has this comment aged. This is President Trump.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage.
That's Trump in 2011 against Obama, who obviously never started a war with Iran. How is that comment aged, in your opinion?
That comment is aged badly. Hold on 1 second. I think I found the thing to switch around.
There we go.
Can you see me now?
I can definitely see. Yes, I can. And for some of you folks, who want to come up live, follow me on Instagram as well. That's where this conversation is coming from. Instagram. Yeah, Handsome Liberal on the same platform.
3 super chats to try. I kept saying the wrong thing. I kept saying Messenger. I meant Instagram.
Okay.
We need to definitely come over here at least. That way we can help get your show going.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, dude, we need to be concerned about all of this with the Middle East, dude. It's bad. It's real bad.
Well, wasn't he the one that was seeking the Nobel Peace Prize? He ended 8 wars. I mean, he's the guy that's bringing peace to the world, is he not?
Oh, please, come on, dude. We've been over this. He's a politician from the head to his toes. He's going to tell you what he wants to tell you to win. Of course he's going to say that. His opposition was in power at the time. I mean, come on. What have I always told you, Tim? I've been honest with you.
Yeah.
I've said I don't trust any politicians.
Yeah.
None.
Now you made it clear you voted for him only in 2016.
Because I'm not going to vote for somebody that runs on division. Much like you, he's an employee. He's an employee at his job. Okay, his job is to make our lives easier, not set us against each other.
Yeah.
They do that already. That's not a reason to vote for somebody.
Well, 3 more years. I'll move it on to Handsome Conservative. I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you. And certainly I'm going to find, right after this live, I'm going to find another platform that might be suitable to replace TikTok with because of this.
I do want to tell you 2 things. Like I said, one, Substack on our end does not give us a way to request to come up. On the end when I'm watching you on Substack, okay? And 2, support your local liberal. Now you can kick me because I don't know how to read.
All right, let me see if I can figure it out because I'm learning as well. It gives me. I'm still. Go ahead.
Let's keep smoking while we're on, so don't kick me eventually.
All right, there you go. Let me see if because I'm still learning Instagram myself. Turn off record. I'm trying to figure out. I think I see how to get rid of you here.
Damn, that's cold.
Well, I'm learning. I'm learning. I know TikTok because I've been on TikTok for years. Yeah, I've been on TikTok for years, but I'm not as good with it. For some reason, I see the requests. I don't see where your name is to take you down, and that's what I'm trying to do. Oh shit, this sucks.
Let me try to hit the video button, see if that'll do it. No,
That didn't take. Yeah, that didn't take you down. Click the X button. There's no. Yeah. Well, the X button ends the whole damn live. We don't want to do that. We don't want to end the whole live. I'm trying to end the guest, not the live. And it says turn off request to go live.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, but it's something.
Take care.
All right. The problem is it's something I'm going to need to get. Hanson, click the X button on his name. I didn't see that, but okay, I'll look for the next caller. Looking in the comments here before we go to the next caller, by the way, you're right. Don't vote for division. You're going to get division no matter who you vote for. Listen, if Kamala Harris or Biden were your president, you're going to get division because whoever is in the White House, who's ever in the Oval Office leading this great nation, they're going to govern from their perspective, whether it's an independent, a liberal, or a Republican. If you're a Republican and you govern in a conservative way, let's say Mitt Romney, John McCain, George W. Bush, there's going to be a certain amount of division because the left don't like what you're doing. Pro-life, pro-Christianity, pro-cop, some of this stuff. Pro-Iraq war. Remember they were saying anybody that was against the Iraq war was not a patriot. Cindy Sheehan and all of that. The Dixie Chicks got canceled by the right. So you're going to get division no matter who you elect. The only difference, though, is President Trump does it intentionally. If you believe that you want to protect the sanctity of life, so you're pro-life as opposed to pro-choice. The pro-choice people are not going to like you, but you're doing something that's governed on policy. You're not trying to piss them off. You just are doing what you believe is the way things should be. So it's going to create some division, but you're not trying to piss the people off. Trump is the only president that literally does things that are intended to anger the other side, that have nothing to do with policy, nothing to do with making America great or anything. It's just designed to create division and anger. Like the shitting on protesters thing. That's just designed to piss the protesters off. It doesn't make America great. It doesn't help out the protest situation, doesn't get it under control, nothing. It's just designed to anger those people. Same thing with the Hakeem Jeffries wearing a sombrero. That's just designed to piss off Hakeem Jeffries and liberals that support him. No other president was doing stuff like that. So they all are divisive, but he is intentionally divisive. He is probably the only president at least I've seen in my lifetime that sees division as currency. As one of my viewers, Straight Talk Commerce, says, I love that about him, to be honest. He loves the division, and President Trump knows that. That's why I just stated he sees division as currency. I can cash this in with my supporters. They like this stuff. So if I go online and I post a goofy picture of Whoopi Goldberg missing teeth or something like that, my side is going to like that. Now it's going to piss off all the liberals that support Whoopi Goldberg. You might have some people even saying it's racist or whatever comes up. But it's designed to make the people fight. That's the only purpose of it. I want to make people fight. So let me get on the internet and do something that's going to make millions of people angry at millions of other people. You don't normally have presidents do that. And like Straight Talk, you didn't used to have voters favor that. But now in this current environment, you actually have people that want to fight with each other. That could be the first step between civil unrest in the country. I just think it's really bad for America. And I don't see how the hell making us hate each other could ever be a way of making America great. I don't see the greatness, the attempt to make this country great at all by making half of the people hate the other half. I don't understand that. Tim, I think trunk mouth commerce broke TikTok with his crazy MAGA rants. Straight talk. You're calling him trunk mouth comer. Oh my God. Evil. You're crazy. You are crazy. Oh my gosh. Anyway, looking in the comments, we'll go back to the box. And if anybody goes on Substack, I'm going to bring up a caller from Instagram, but if you go on Substack, I just want you to type bring me up. I'm going to see if I can get that to bring up guests. Let me go back to the box. We'll go to Dencal. Hey, buddy, tell us a little bit about yourself all over this internet. If you watch the show, you'll probably know. We discuss that often. Dencal, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, now I saw you holding there. Now, Straight Talk came in here and broke the internet today, similar to the Kardashians. Now, going to war with Iran seems to be what's on the menu. Is it a legitimate cause? Is Iran really getting out of hand? Do you think it's something we need to do?
Well, legitimate is, I guess, it's a perspective you have to have. If you have to take, if you believe that Israel is running our country and we are doing things for their benefit, then I guess yes, it is something we need to do. But other than that, if you're America first, you should be horrified by it.
You say if Israel is running our country. So do you believe that we may end up having another excursion with an entanglement, to quote Will Smith's wife? Do you believe we're trying to have another entanglement with Iran at the behest of Israel?
Yeah, well, we already did when we obliterated their nuclear program, which was the only reason we should have been over there in the first place. And if we obliterated their program, there's no way 3 months later, or however long it's been, we should be sending our fleet. People don't understand how much resources and expenses it costs to move these ships around. He's moving them around like he's playing like Battleship, the little board game.
Okay.
He's moving around resources and stuff. It costs a lot of money to do that. And for what reason would he have to move 2 carrier groups over in that area that he said was obliterated already? It's to do what Israel wants us to do. And I don't want to get your live taken down, because that's probably part of the reason why the TikTok got taken down, because y'all were talking about domino votings.
Yeah, but on all the other apps, that audio is going into them too, and nobody else. We talk about this stuff on YouTube and all that. And by the way, handsome conservative, go ahead and drop. You are able to come up, so we have been able to prove that now. Straight, what do you call it? Substack does work to bring up guests as well. Because I got one. Go ahead and drop. Okay, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
It looks like there's an X button up here as well to leave. So I'm going to go ahead and leave. I'm going to press it and see if that does the job.
Okay, go ahead and do it.
All right. You take care, bud.
All right. Okay, Dencal. So at the behest of Israel, and it did drop their conservative. So with 2 carrier groups over there, do you think it's all for sure? Do you think we really are going to attack Iran again?
No, Israel wants us to really do a regime change in Iran.
What about what Straight Talk is saying? He's saying that Iran needs to go.
He's buying into the same type of rhetoric that our president is buying into, talking about who's got to go when we're supposed to be America first.
Oh, I guess they.
What do we say? We're not going to be the police of the world anymore. We're gonna make sure our people are taken care of. Yet we spend hundreds of millions of dollars moving battle carrier groups all around the world. We moved probably $1 billion worth of military artillery over into down south, so we can send in 15 special forces and take Maduro.
We moved $1 billion worth of shit so we can send in 15 special forces. That is kind of what happened too. We moved all that equipment there to send in a handful of guys to get Maduro out.
What did he say? He said we solved all of the problems in Venezuela now. Now they're not selling dope no more. Now the whole country is great
But I do have to ask, and maybe I'll get MAGA reaction one of my other conservative MAGA folks up here, but why is it that he can seemingly do things that he absolutely did not campaign on, in some cases even campaigned against, like you're rightfully bringing up, getting involved in military police actions and things like that? Why is it that he can go completely against what he campaigned for, and then you see MAGA saying, that's what I voted for? He's doing the opposite of what he told you he was going to do, and you're yelling that's what you voted for. How does that work?
Hey, and then they get upset when we say that's cult mentality. Like they can't even see it when they say something exactly different. They go 180 from what they said last week, and then when we mention that, then we got TDS.
I still have no clue what TDS even is, then, Cal. I don't know what that even means. I hear it all the time.
Exactly. Just like you don't know what Make America Great Again means, just like you don't know what the lunatic left means. All of these stuff are buzzwords used as rhetoric to control people's emotions.
I could understand what the lunatic left is in some cases. I mean, some of the things the left say can be, I even though I consider myself an LGBTQ ally, I don't believe a dude can become a woman. I don't believe that. I mean, there are some cases like that where a few of them were asked. Most liberals don't buy into this, but there were some liberals asked, what is a woman? They couldn't answer the question. That's lunatic left stuff to me.
Well, that's just a gotcha question, because there's so many ways you can answer that question. And they got mad when they asked the freaking judge, and she didn't want to answer it because she understands whatever she says, she is going to be permanently labeled by that.
I would just, listen, if somebody asked me, what is a woman? And I said, listen, I go by the chromosomes, X and Y, I go by the science. How am I going to get labeled for that?
That would be a scientific answer, and guess what? They don't respect science. So
no,
they're going to say, oh, if you got a dick and you got a pussy, that means you're a man or a woman. Or if you got ovaries, there's so many different ways you can answer it. If you answer it, you're setting yourself up for somebody to say wrong.
Well, that's it. I've been in a lot of MAGA lives, and they've tried to get me with that same gotcha question. What is look? I go by the chromosomes. I've never heard of. In fact, most MAGA actually applaud me for saying that. I mean, to me, what a woman is clear as day, And I don't go with the ovaries and all, because listen, the way our maker has created us, some people are born missing shit. I mean, exactly. So I go by the chromosomes. So I leave it at that.
Right. But then, even they will take that and they will apply a literal sense. Like there's only to this or there's only to that. And that's just not true. If you want to really go by the scientific evidence, because we know people have been born with both.
Yeah.
Some people have lacked both. Like it's so much in between that you can answer it anyway, but somebody could come from a different perspective and say you're wrong. So,
well, listen.
It's the same thing they asked Kamala Harris about what would she do different, and she said she wouldn't do anything different.
She gave a terrible answer.
That's a legal answer. But she wasn't talking to people in the legal profession. See, she talks like a lawyer. So when they ask her specific questions, she answered. When people say, what have you done for black people? The correct answer is, I cannot do anything just for black people because it's against the Constitution. The Constitution says it's got to not just be black people, it's got to be minorities and other groups of people.
I'm going to tell you, I get chastised, particularly by Gangsta Grandma, for saying that. I think the answer on a softball interview like The View, you can't say I wouldn't do anything different than Biden. You got to come up with something better than that. They even asked Vivek Ramaswamy when he was running for president, what would he do different from Trump? And as much as he was on Trump's coattails, he actually had a decent answer for it. I wish I could find it to play it, because when he had a debate with the other 9 Republicans, even he didn't say something crazy like that.
Okay, well, what do you think J.D. Vance is going to say when it comes close to 2028 and Trump still
No, no. If you have debate prep, you listen. I could answer that question, even if I'm hardcore MAGA and I'm JD Vance, and you ask me that question. I might laugh. Listen, I think Trump has done a hell of a lot right for this country. We're no, but listen, he's really good on the internet. I probably wouldn't be on there as much. I'm not as good as him. So I mean, there's a way to answer the question. There's a way to answer the question. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be on the internet as much. I can't run. Listen.
Policy, officially, you wouldn't do nothing.
Well, exactly. But I don't say it. I don't say it like that.
We get into semantics and say whether somebody is good or bad. Or, I don't do that because I understand what these people. When you ask these people loaded questions, hey, it's kind of hard.
No,
It's kind of.
I think I could come up with if I believed that every single thing Trump did right for America was great. I still could answer that question. I mean, like I said about the internet thing. Look, that man holds a hell of a schedule. I got a young kid on the way. There's no way I could do all those rallies. So I'm probably not going to do. I mean, there's all kinds of shit you can say to divert.
I get it, but you're talking to a person who was put in this position where she was the sitting vice president, still working for the man, and then being asked, how are you different than them? And ultimately their job is to support your agenda 100%. It's not to give your opinion on what you think would be better or worse. Now you can say that to them. We know Joe Biden sat down with Barack Obama and said, "Don't take the risk of going after who was that? The one he went and picked up in Afghanistan. What was
Bin Laden? What are you talking about?
Yeah, Bin Laden.
Yeah.
When Obama was in the
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Room, yeah, they said Biden was saying, "Look, I wouldn't do that if I was you." He didn't want him to go in because he thought it was too risky.
I mean, there's just a million answers. Listen, I've been pro-Israel my whole life, but I probably wouldn't be on TV talking about owning Gaza. It's just too much baggage. I could come up with a million things that JD Vance could say he wouldn't do this and would not piss off MAGA one bit. I don't know why Kamala Harris wasn't ready for that.
JD Vance won't say not one of them, I guarantee you.
I bet he would. I bet he would.
Look, he know where his butter is bred, and he know where the donors are and the money. He's not gonna say anything again. Because first of all, if Trump decides to run, which Trump is not gonna say anything until he knows 100% that he can't run. So all of this stuff has got to go through courts and everything before he tries to run. And guarantee you, he's not gonna fucking really endorse somebody that he might think he has to run against. So therefore, anything that JD Vance say in that interim time, Trump gonna take offense to it. I guarantee you.
Well, I'm just simply saying, though, the stuff I use for JD Vance, you wouldn't lose any MAGA at all by saying that stuff. I mean, all you gotta do before you make any statement is give praise to Trump first, and then make your statement. Like I said, I don't have anywhere near the stat, huh?
I think it's the opposite. I think you got to talk shit about him, then praise him at the end, because that's all they remember.
No. No, I disagree. I'm saying if I'm JD Vance and I'm asked would I do anything different than Trump, first I praise him. I think the guy has done wonders for this country. But we are two different people. He has stamina like a racehorse. I wouldn't be on the internet as much as he is. I need my sleep at night. I wouldn't be up as late as he is. I mean, you've already praised him, and you're not criticizing him with your differences. And I don't think you'd lose any MAGA doing that.
Okay, so you just saying you would rather just a bullshit answer either way. You just agree with that bullshit answer, which we all know that she was not going to do exactly what he did. We already knew that. She had already talked about what she was going to do differently.
A politician, but didn't count. Being a politician, bullshitting is a large portion of it. If you can't bullshit, it's like a salesman. When you're selling vacuum cleaners, this one is better than anything you've ever had. Whatever you're selling, that's what Trump is, best and brightest. It's bigly. And that shit is working. That stuff is working.
You can say whatever you want to. I'd ask Matt the same question now. How much is your gas? Is your gas $2? Is your gas $2? Remember those 4 gas stations a couple months
Yeah.
Guess what my gas is now? $2.75. So
I mean,
give him credit because in 4 gas stations around the country, we gonna be like, now, yeah, he settled that. You know what I'm saying? He got it down to 2. If we gonna use that mentality, I want to say, well, Biden got the unemployment rate down to 3.6.
well, Jerry Garcia in the comments on TikTok says mine is much cheaper. Gas has went down. I'll tell you this, it ain't $2 a gallon, Cal, but it is, out of everything we're complaining about, inflation, price of groceries, thing, gas is manageable. It ain't great like $2 a gallon, but it is very manageable.
But then we need to stick with what the promise was. We want to maneuver and make everything, but we can. You were the one who said we don't give participation trophies. Now here you go. Well, when gas is kind of now, and I have to sound like gangsta grandma, but you sucking up some uncooked protein right now.
You're right, but I am going to say under Trump, the price of gas. You are right. He promised $2. You're holding him accountable. He still has 3 more years, though, Cal. It could happen. It could happen.
No. I'm going back to, we got to stick with what the man said. You can't say, well, he's doing what he said, but we going to take out the part where he said, I'm going to do it within the first day. I'm going to do it within the first year. Your gas, your electricity, everything is going to be cut in half. Your rent is going to be cut in half. I'm going to do that. And you can hold me accountable if it don't happen within 12 months after I'm elected. That's what I'm going by. I'm not going to be mealy mouth like Trump, like MAGA did, because that's what they did the whole time Biden was in there. The economy is terrible. Even though the stock market was hitting record highs every week, they didn't give a shit about none of that. They was like, it's horrible. But now that he has an economy with even higher inflation, it's the greatest economy ever. Like, the stock market's over 50,000.
Yeah, that's what Pam Bondi is. That is the new quote. Stock markets, like, why the hell are you a actual attorney general? Why are you at a hearing talking about the fucking stock market? That ain't even your area. Like, that ain't your job to be touting the stock market.
We all know exactly where that came from. And it kills me when we listen to these MAGA people talking about, Pam Bondi really messed up the messaging with Epstein. She only doing exactly what the president told her to do.
I said the same thing about Bovino in Minneapolis when they got rid of him and put Tom Homan in. I'm like, Bovino ain't done nothing wrong. It's just Bovino was doing in Minneapolis a heavy-handed approach, showing those liberals how the hell things are. What do you say? This is my city. He was doing what Trump sent them there to do, but when it became unpopular, he got thrown under the bus, and then they sent Tom Homan in. And Bovino didn't fuck up. Bovino was doing everything he was sent in there to do. It just didn't work well, and now they're going to make him a scapegoat.
And now Homan then came in there and tried to bring some calm to the situation, but now he done said some shit that Trump don't like. Now he got to come out and say, well, we're not going to change any of our tactics.
Yeah. Well, Tom Homan is actually, he worked for the Obama administration. He actually know what he's doing. We may not favor it, but he actually is a true immigration guy. And Trump wants a more heavier-handed approach, if I can get my wording straight. Trump is probably further to the right of what Homan wants. Bovino is the guy who wants to do what Trump wants done. But Homan tried to go in there, do the right thing, which is take a de-escalatory approach. And I don't think Trump wants it to be de-escalated. I think he wants to teach them liberals a lesson.
After they done said they're going to pull everybody out, now he comes back. We still going to be here.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep a small element here,
Yeah. Unfortunately, you got to answer to Trump, and Trump is all in that. Then, Cal, I do got to move it on, but I think Bovino was doing exactly what he was hired to do. It just became unpopular, and now they're going to throw him under the bus. Bovino didn't do nothing wrong.
Last thing is, Abrego Garcia, the courts finally said.
Yeah, they said you can't fuck with him no more.
You can't fuck with him no more.
That guy is about to get paid. I wish I was Kilmar Blake Garcia. He got a lot of money coming. It may not be under Trump's administration.
That time at CCON, I don't know, but yeah, he about to. Yeah, his generation is about to be straight.
Yeah, he got some millies coming. You know, it's kind of like what they say about in church. He may not come when you want him, but he comes right on time. You may not get your money under the Trump administration, but if you just hold on, your money is coming. Your money is coming.
He might get it during the Trump administration, the way it's going.
Could be, but he'll get a lot more if he waits till Trump is gone.
Yeah, and you didn't say nothing about the Black History event that was held either.
What?
That would have been a whole nother topic, boy. They was in there bug dancing and dancing a jig and that thing, and he made the whole thing about himself.
Yeah. I gave him credit for at least saying something positive about Jesse Jackson's death, even though he lowered the flags to have staff.
He said, I can't be racist. Look, I got Mike Tyson in here, his fellow rapist. You know what I'm saying?
I got to go now for sure. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you. And real quick in the comments, somebody told me to click an X on your name. I don't even see his name up there to do that. Anyway, he dropped. The Black History Month celebration that Trump had. I didn't cover it for two reasons. First, we just the last live we had, we covered the fact that Trump gave credit to Jesse Jackson in his death. He said a lot of positive things about Jesse Jackson. I don't like the fact that he didn't lower the flags to have mass for Jesse Jackson, but he did it for Charlie Kirk. That part I don't understand. I would be more willing to entertain not lowering the flag for Jesse Jackson if the Charlie Kirk thing didn't happen. I still don't understand how Charlie Kirk was worthy of lowering the flags to half mast to begin with. I don't know what his contributions were that were that great. I suppose he actually convinced a lot of young people to be interested in the conservative party. Probably convinced folks to register to vote. Jesse Jackson did all of that, and I'm pretty certain Jesse Jackson made far more people interested in politics than Charlie Kirk, just because of the years on Earth. So I don't know what Charlie Kirk did to warrant him getting the flags to be lowered, flown back in Air Force Two and all of this stuff. And for Jesse Jackson, you say all this positive stuff about him and you don't even lower the flags for him? He was twice he was a presidential candidate. How the hell did Charlie Kirk rise above all of that? Not to mention his whole participation with the MLK movement and all of that. I don't understand how Charlie Kirk got elevated above all of this. So that part don't make sense to me. Looking in the comments, though. And by the way, tap the screen if you're watching on TikTok. Still got a couple hundred of you folks. Unfortunately, on TikTok, they've taken something down, so I can't bring up guests. My belief is the next live we do, they're going to, because usually when we got any kind of issues, they correct it very quickly. I mean, we do a lot of lives, plenty of followers and things like that. So it does make, TikTok's kind of favorable, but, so I do expect that to be corrected. I'm not going to bring up the backup live because we're too deep into this one already. So I'm going to let TikTok stay the way it is for now, but I can't bring up live. Says that's because of grandma. Gangsta grandma wasn't on today, Jerry Garcia. She wasn't even here today. So it was actually on Mike and Straight Talk. So they are full of cocky, says Miss Mobetta. Oh my gosh. Lowering the flag for Charlie Kirk and not Jesse Jackson is sad and laughable. Yeah, I don't understand how Charlie Kirk was worthy of lowering the flag. I don't understand it. Now, folks point out where he lost his life promoting free speech. A whole lot of people have. That ain't nothing new. A whole lot of people have. So I don't understand what he did that was worthy of all of the. I mean, they gave him a memorial in a fucking, stadium fit for football games. I don't understand it. I do not understand how his contributions were raised or elevated to that level. Did we lower the flags? I think we may have. Did we lower the flags to have staff for Dick Cheney when he passed away earlier this year? Former vice president, two-term vice president Dick Cheney. Did he get the flags lowered to half mast? That doesn't make sense to me. That's all I'm saying. What Charlie Kirk, his accomplishments is not that great to get all that. That doesn't make sense to me. What's funny is you thought it would be a what handsome conservative. I don't get that. Got an angry young white voters together is more than enough for Trump. Have staff all day and twice on Sunday for somebody like that for Trump. Damn, Garrett, I hope you're wrong. It's the presence of evil that truly concerns me. Okay, nope, Liz Cheney is dead. No, what are you talking about, Liz Cheney? Liz Cheney is still alive. Jesse Jackson should have got it the same way, and that is still something that we as American people need to address, and that's why we need to help hold him accountable for. Yeah, I can't explain that. I cannot. I mean, when you look at the contributions of Jesse Jackson compared to Charlie Kirk, I don't have an explanation for that. I just don't understand how Charlie Kirk got all of that. Charlie Kirk said what the racists wanted to hear, says Emmett. Yeesh. Stop asking questions you know the answer to. SGB, I want to hear from you folks. Charlie brought lots of young people into the party. Robert Kennedy, I don't disagree with that, but Jesse Jackson brought more. Far more people went out and got registered to vote and cast ballots from Jesse Jackson than Charlie Kirk would have ever cast. I mean, he's been doing it since he was Charlie Kirk's age, even earlier. So Charlie Kirk did more than that. I mean, better yet, Jesse Jackson got more people involved in politics than Charlie Kirk. So once again, I don't understand it. You clearly know nothing about Charlie Kirk. He wasn't racist at all. Left my ass off, says Hayden Fox. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Let me go back to the box. Cheney was a warmonger, not a free speech advocate. Democracy depends on free speech. You really putting Charlie Kirk above Dick Cheney? Really? Yikes. Okay. He's a warmonger. Shit, America is a fucking warmongering nation. You don't think what Trump is doing right now qualifies as warmongering? He's attacked like over a half dozen countries in only 1 year of office. I mean, warmonger or Dick Cheney? That's what we do. We're the world's police. We start conflicts with countries all over the damn place. That ain't something unique to Cheney or any of them. They all do it. Let me go back to the box. We'll bring up MAGA Reacts. Kirk was about that life and died by it. So was Jesse Jackson. He was about that life. Only difference between Kirk and Jesse Jackson is they didn't get to Jesse. You realize how many people wanted to off Jesse Jackson? That guy passed away at 84, and he was involved in a civil rights fight. I think he said when he first got involved in the MLK, started noticing him, he was like 21 or 22. So from that age to 84, you realize that guy probably received a few million death threats throughout his life? Talking about Jesse Jackson. I bet Al Sharpton has received a few million as well. I don't see how Charlie Kirk gets put above that. MAGA Reacts, good evening.
Yeah, what's going on?
Not much. Good to see you on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
For some reason, there's an echo on my side.
Yeah, you got something going. Now you just went.
Can you hear me at all or no?
I can hear you.
All right, hold on. Let me.
If
you hear me, what's going on?
Well, shit, can you hear the program? Yeah, you got.
Why is it echoing like that? I only have Instagram going.
Yeah, drop your connection, and I'll bring you back up. Looking at the comments, just drop, and I'll bring you back up. Jesse Jackson is the CEO. We know that, James. Jackson had a full life. Kirk did not. And so, what do you don't lower the flags to half mast for folks like President Carter because he had a full life? What does that got to do with it? I don't know what that's got to do with it. Charlie Kirk, who faked his death. Who gives a fuck? He didn't even want to stay around to be talked about. He did it over. Scarlet, yikes. That's cruel. I didn't even know he died. Okay, let me go back to the box. Let me see if we can bring back up the caller there. I don't know what's going on, but I'm learning. Folks, bear with me. I'm still learning Instagram because most of my callers generally come through TikTok. And TikTok is playing games today. What if Jesse Jackson was a Klansman? He would be hated more than he is now. That's what I would say. What's next? We gonna lower the flags for Nick Fuentes? Look, the whole notion that Charlie Kirk was not a racist, I'm just going to say it like this. If we talk about cars, it's like we're talking about Fords. You know, they say Ford, found on road, dead. We're talking about Ford automobiles, fix or repair daily. I think that's another acronym for Ford. If every time we talk about Fords, you say something negative about those cars, it's always negative. I'm going to think you don't like Fords. Every time Charlie Kirk talks about black people, it's negative. All of his quotes are. You notice when people were saying you're taking him out of context, he's not racist, they didn't provide anything positive. You know what? When people say Trump is racist, they bring up the HBCUs or they bring up him hanging out with you. There's nothing from Charlie Kirk. He was friends with Candace Owens and he hung out with Kanye West. That don't account for shit in the black community right now. That's it. There's nothing. All you can say is he's not. There is nothing to present. Well, he was hanging out in the hood, or here he is, hanging out with Snoop Dogg. There's nothing. Well, you're taking that out of context. Well, goddamn it, put it in context. Give me something good. All of his greatest hits shouldn't be negative. They all are. Just like I said, every time you talk about Fords, it's a negative conversation. This is the same thing I often bring up when folks on the right say that they're not anti-immigrant. Just come legally. Every time you hear the right talking about immigrants, it's a negative context. It's negative. And that's even the ones that are here legally. They're eating cats and dogs, and they're committing a bunch of fraud in Minnesota, whatever. It's all negative shit. If every time you talk about something is negative, I'm going to develop the opinion that you hate that or you don't like it. It's as simple as that. So every time Charlie Kirk speaks of African Americans, throughout all those clips that guy got, you notice people defending him, they didn't play any positive clips. It's all negative shit. There's nothing to play that's positive. You just have to say you're taking them out of context, which makes no fucking sense. But anyway, that's why I would suggest that Charlie Kirk did not like African Americans. Did not. Had a very low opinion of them. Talked about fatherlessness in the African American community, the whole 13% of the population, 50% in prison, suggested that they were better off, or there was less crime in the black community during slavery and Jim Crow or something like that. That was one. It's all negative shit. Civil Rights Act is a mistake. Martin Luther King was a bad guy. I'm like, goddamn. Every time you talk about Ford, it's a negative conversation. DEI, there's another one. I see a black pilot. I think he might crash the motherfucking plane. I mean, it's all negative stuff. What are you supposed to think? The guy loves black people? Sitting around watching Good Times, eating fried chicken, huh? Let me go back to MAGA Reacts. We'll give it a try here. Get a life, Tim says. Glenn Livingston says, I'm out. Well, Glenn, I don't want to lose you, but this is free speech. Just like you were free to say that, you got to be willing to listen to people that are free to say the opposite. So if I lose you, I lose you. That's how it works. MAGA Reacts, good evening.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh.
Problem. It was a brand new phone, and it had to request permission to use the camera and shit, and I think that's what caused the issue.
Okay, well, fair enough. You're working well now. Tell me what I've said you disagree with. I'm sure there's some shit in there somewhere.
Oh, there's a whole list. Starting with Charlie Kirk. I mean, you guys don't see him that way, but he's the closest thing we have to an MLK, and especially the way he went out. I mean, that's exactly like MLK as far as we're concerned.
Okay,
he was bringing people together. He was like kind of the glue that kept MAGA like peaceful to one another. That's why all this like infighting we have now, I don't think most of it would have happened if Charlie Kirk was still around.
Well,
he was friends with everybody.
Well, when you say we don't see him that way, why do you think we don't see him that way?
Well, you're on the left. You all you see is the highlights of him criticizing black people. I mean,
are there any highlights of him?
Admitting there's a problem.
Are there any highlights of him talking about black people when he was not criticizing them?
Well, he's trying to solve political issues. So most of what he says is pointing out problems, especially when it comes to black people who vote for the left. We're trying to tell you that, you guys have these problems. Come to our side. We'll help you fix them. And then you'll be happier with us.
So
we want you to have fathers in the home and all these things.
How the hell he gonna fix that? How the hell becoming a Republican is gonna put a father in the home?
Well, maybe we stopped making it better, or stopping. I can't say the word. Stop making it more beneficial to not have them in the house by paying out when they're not there, and paying for them to stay around, and just making the economy better. People could have more families. I mean, a good economy equals more birth rate, more staying in the home, happier people with their spouses.
Your side is actually headed by a guy with 4 wives and he cheated on all of them. How the hell is going to that side gonna make you be more of a family man?
Every one of those marriages lasted longer than I've been alive. Like, the man's 82 years old. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, each one of those marriages were like 30 years plus, and he has kids.
You said every one of his marriages lasted 30 years plus. He has 4 marriages. What is he about to turn 125?
I think he only had 3. He had 3. They were long marriages. I mean,
no, they were not. No, that's not true. His marriage to Marla Maples was not that fucking long. What are you talking about?
I still think it's probably pretty long. I don't know the exact numbers, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But they were long marriages. I mean, the marriage to the current one is very long.
Yeah, the marriage to the current one is long. He's been with her like 20 some odd years. The other ones were not like that. But also,
I mean, I'm kind of curious now. But these aren't short marriages either, though.
Well, the thing is, he cheated on all of them, though, with the exception of Melania.
I mean, he probably cheated. I mean, that's how celebrity life is. I mean, what celebrity doesn't do all the same shit Trump has done?
So I'm trying to figure out, because you're making it sound like if we go to the right, we'll be more family men.
I mean, that's what we care about. That's what we try to promote. Nothing's guaranteed.
He was married.
Hopefully, yes.
Donald Trump was married to Marla Maples for 6 years, from December 93 until they finalized their divorce in 99. So obviously they were separated before they got divorced. He wasn't married to her long at all.
He had 3 kids or 4 kids in 6 years.
I'm just telling you what.
What did he have with her? Didn't he have a bunch of kids?
I don't know how many kids they got together, but they got married on December 20th, 1993. They separated in 1997, and the marriage was finalized in 1999. So he was only with her for 4 fucking years.
That's crazy, because I know he's got at least 2 or 3 kids with her.
Well,
you gotta figure the 2 boys are with her.
I'm just telling you, that don't sound like a family man party to me.
I got you.
Yeah.
You gotta figure Tiffany, what's her name? Ivanka. Wait, is Marla Maples the middle one or the first one?
I think he got with her in 97. I mean, he was probably 93 rather. 93. So I'm assuming
she's the second wife, so he only has Tiffany with her. So I guess they didn't. Her that marriage didn't last long, but I think the first one lasted and the last one lasted.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't give a fuck about all that. I don't pick my president based on that.
Then you said Charlie Kirk was going to bring us over to that side for family values. Now you don't care about family values.
I mean, listen, there's caring about it and there's wanting everybody to be perfect. You know, the goal is to have one marriage and have a bunch of kids. But people get divorced for a lot of reasons. And, you know, he's not the only one that did it. Everybody gets divorced.
Okay,
the important part is he kept taking care of his kids and every one of his kids turned out good. So
well, it's easy to take care of it's easy to take care of your kids if your dad gives you $1 million loan, as he said. It ain't like he was struggling for cash. And by the way, when you get to Trump's level, taking care of your kids amounts to sending them to boarding school and shit like that. It ain't like you out there going fishing with them every weekend. I mean, you're literally paying people to do it, nannies and shit. That's easy.
Well, from what I've seen, he seems to be more active than that. And they all turned out good compared to a lot of people in his position have shitty ass kids.
There's a whole lot of videos and photos of Trump with women and shit like that. I don't see a lot of photos of him hanging out on fishing trips and shit like that with his kids. You didn't see. He was known for being with women. not his kids.
Well, his kids haven't complained as far as I know.
That's the standard?
Like, oh, my father neglected me. And he has a bunch of interviews with his daughter. I mean, he has a famous Howard Stern interview with his daughter and shit that you guys keep bringing up.
Well, I think his daughter, the one he said that he would be dating, I think he took care of her pretty well. They were close.
Change the subject. We're talking about Charlie Kirk. First of all, like, he helped Trump get elected. Trump wouldn't be president without him. All this infighting, if he was still alive, all this fighting on the right wouldn't be happening. It would be a lot less fighting.
So what happens if Elon Musk passes away? We're gonna lower the flag for him too, because he absolutely helped Trump get elected.
Yes and no. I think Charlie Kirk was a lot more. Like, we've proven that money doesn't win elections. So I don't see Elon's money as important as Charlie Kirk's work, as far as, reaching out to kids and all the TikTok shit he did. And he influenced Trump to do it. He's the reason J.D. Vance is vice president. J.D. Vance is Charlie Kirk's best friend. And that's the other reason he got picked up in Air Force Two, because J.D. Vance was just picking up the body of his best friend. Even if Kirk wasn't
at the taxpayers' expense, picking up the body of his best friend at the taxpayers' expense, MAGA.
Well, that's how it works with these people. Anywhere the VP goes, he has to take that airplane. He doesn't get an option to just fly private or fly on a commercial. He always has to take that airplane.
No, you could.
Even if he's going to play golf.
No, you could actually rent a private jet. You don't have to be on it. You could rent a private jet out of your own pocket and fly him from point A to point B. You don't need to be on that.
Like, if my friend died, I would go see him. And if I'm required to take Air Force Two, I'm taking Air Force Two. I'm not going out of my way to rent a jet.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick him up no matter what. My friend just got shot. I'm flying to Utah to take care of his family who was there and be supportive as much as I can be. Yeah. Whether I'm VP or not. But as VP, I have to take that airplane.
If you're on the tarmac, you fly out to Arizona or wherever the hell well, not Arizona, Utah. You fly out to Utah where Charlie Kirk lost his life. You're there for Erica and the family, et cetera, et cetera. You're on the runway as they load the body onto the private jet that you paid for. You're in the city that receives it as well. And then you're at the event. You've absolutely paid respect to him. You don't need to pay to fly a 747 to carry one dude.
No, I would be there. I would be there in Utah. I would be there at wherever they take his body. So if I'm there, they have to take Air Force Two. So why would I rent a private jet when I have to take Air Force Two anyway?
The point I'm making is this. To me, when you do shit like that at the taxpayer's expense, you kind of lose the whole argument about going at the waste, fraud, and abuse. You wasted that's got to be tens of thousands of dollars of taxpayer money wasted to go pick up one dude.
Then change the law where the president and the vice president could just fly regular and they don't have to take Air Force Two.
No, you don't need.
We made a law that they have to use this fucking plane.
No, so you don't have to change the law. Just admit that you can be fraudulent and wasteful just like everybody. Don't get up there and make it sound like you're the waste, fraud, and abuse god when you're doing stuff like that.
But this is something we intended. Like, we want our VP to fly safe in Air Force Two. We don't want him to fly fucking commercial and get the flu being on an airplane next to some guy with COVID or God knows what else could happen on a.
All I know is that if this happened if Obama or Biden lost somebody and they done some shit like this, you guys would be all over that. You would not be as sympathetic.
It'd be the same story. Like, the law is they have to use this airplane.
The right wouldn't complain about it at all.
Not really, no, not this.
You complained about a fucking tan suit. You complained about Obama getting off of Marine One and not even salute the guy. You're not going to complain about wasting millions of dollars, huh?
I didn't do that, and I promise you, most of MAGA didn't do that.
Yeah, they did. If you watch Fox News, the tan suit scandal, they made jokes about that.
That's before MAGA, Tim. I was a Democrat back then.
How the hell does that happen?
I mean, I voted for Obama twice. I still love Obama. I think he's like, if I could get Obama with Trump's policy, that would be the perfect president.
That doesn't make
By the way,
sense.
if I was J.D. Vance and I had to like separate myself from Trump, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to do everything good that Trump did, except I'm going to tweet less. I'm going to have a softer touch when it comes to deporting people, but I'm still going to be tough on
that. Ain't going to work. You can't say that. I'm going to have a softer touch when it comes to deporting. I wouldn't recommend saying that. MAGA would hate you for that.
I mean, something along that line where I'm going to do everything good Trump did, and I'm going to tone down all the bad things that we all, that even Trump criticizes himself. Like, even Trump's family criticizes his tweeting.
Yeah. So let me ask you.
It's usually fun.
So how do you feel about us potentially being on the cusp of attacking Iran again?
Like I said, we were always on the cusp. I mean, the entire first 4 years of Trump, we're on the cusp of attacking North Korea and Iran and Venezuela. And in the end, you know, he's not a pussy. He's going to go in and do whatever he needs to do. But if peace is an option, he will always take peace, which is all we ask from him. You know, we don't want him to be a pussy. When we say, you know, no new wars, first of all, we say no new endless wars. And he hasn't gotten us into a single war. Everything he did was like a quick strike in and out. You know, even the first or the 10-day war, that wasn't even him. That was Israel for 10 days. He just did a quick strike while
you already know your claim that Trump never got us into any war. It was just a quick strike. Is something I vehemently disagree with.
But that's what he did the first 4 years too, and we were cool with it then.
Well, I disagree with
against that airport in fucking
Syria.
In Syria.
Yeah. Well, here's why I disagree with Trump never got us into any wars. The only reason we are not at war with these countries is because he is strategically picking countries that can't fight back. Everything he is doing is an act of war. If a nation did that to us, we would be at war with them. If they were blowing up boats off the coast of the United States, we would view that as an act of war. Certainly if they came and took out the fucking president, like Maduro.
He blew up another boat like a week ago. So he's still taking out those drug boats. He didn't stop just because, you know, he did his thing.
Should he ever provide evidence to what's on the boats? Or should we be okay with what he's doing?
I mean, we see the video. It's very obvious from the video what's on the boats, that these are these smuggling boats that are carrying drugs, because they're not big enough to carry anything else.
Okay, so is it possible a drug boat could ever be empty?
Well, this one you can see the cargo right there. It's not like this shit's covered. Yeah. It's right there in the hull.
So in other words, he don't ever have to provide evidence. The video should be all you get.
The video shows everything. It looks like a duck. It quacks like a duck. It's long and fast.
The video is evidence that they were coming to the United States. It shows you that too.
I don't care if they're coming to the United States or not. It's a drug boat. These are drug dealers, bad people, fucking transporting drugs. If you want to kill them, you can kill them.
So wait. So if somebody is moving drugs from Venezuela to Guatemala, America should be able to kill them?
Yeah, moving drugs is illegal internationally. It's not legal to do.
Is there any other nation on earth that does something like that? You're moving drugs from point A to point B that does not involve their nation, and they kill you. Is there any other nation on the planet that does that?
I'm sure there is. I mean,
you sure? Give me a name of somebody you think might be doing that.
Look, it's not something I have on the top of my head.
I don't think you're ever going to get it there either. You got about as much hair as I do right now. I need his glasses because I didn't see shit, says Big Shit. Yeah, I don't see what you're talking about either.
Videos on it. You could watch them on my page.
Well, you lost me when you said that taking drugs from point A to point B allows country C to kill you. I never heard of that before. Never heard of that.
We're not the only countries that's waging the war on drugs.
As I said,
sure, if you're in international waters near another country, they're going to take you out no matter what.
No, that's why I asked you. Have you ever heard of any other?
We are the police for the rest of the world.
No,
I mean that's part of Trump's argument. We're already doing this. We're already the cops for the rest of the world anyway. So it's our job no matter where.
Yeah, I've never seen a country do that other than America, what you're talking about. In fact, I don't even think it was happening under any other president in America, where somebody was doing something from one country to another and then we jumped in and killed the person. Other than maybe Israel, who would ask us to do it. But this is uninvited. So they're taking drugs from Venezuela to another country south of the border, and nobody is asking for America's help, and they jump in and say, we're going to kill the person. I've never heard that before.
These people are still in our area. They're in our backyard. It's not like they're in South America or like in Europe and we're doing this. They're literally in our backyard.
And?
You know?
And?
So you don't know if they're bringing it to America or not. There's a good chance it is in America, going to America.
All those other countries south of the border, you just going to automatically assume it's yours and kill them.
Well, we are the number one market, so you're going to be
more. You gotta, MAGA. You're killing people. You gotta be more. You gotta be more certain of this stuff. You're actually killing people based on this flaky stuff you're throwing out.
And we've always killed drug dealers. I mean,
no.
This is not something new.
We don't even kill drug dealers in this country. We've caught cartel members and shit.
Because they're American.
No, that ain't true. That is flat out false.
That would be a different argument.
No, we have caught cartel members actively bringing drugs across the border at, places like Juarez and all that shit, El Paso. We didn't kill the people. What are you talking about?
All in's a little different too.
What?
It's a lot harder to intercept boats and shit. I don't know, Tim.
I don't think you know either, because no. What you're saying never happened. The Coast Guard intercepts people out in open water carrying drugs all the time. We never kill them. Same thing with drugs being brought and smuggled in the border, across the border in trucks and in tires and shit, gas tanks. We never kill them. I don't know what you're talking about. That never has happened.
If you say so, we've never had a light touch. I got pulled over by Coast Guard with a fucking machine gun pointed at me, and I was just a jet ski that got too close to a cruise ship. So it's not like we do.
But did you die? But did you die?
Well, no, but they could have. He's using a fucking machine gun that could take out a tank on a fucking little jet ski. That was just a little bit lost.
You talking about a machine gun? They're shooting these folks from C-130s and shit. What they doing? They hitting them with missiles. You'd be lucky for a few machine gun rounds. They blowing them up with missiles. Shit.
I think the missile would be better than the machine gun.
I'm not. Look, I'm just going to tell you. The American policy on drugs has never been to execute drug dealers, and certainly not without a trial or anything. We've never done that.
Listen, let me set up Zoom for you. I'll fucking run it for you and everything. I'll send out the links. I'll set up everything. All you gotta do is just talk to people, and I'll set up Zoom for you because Instagram sucks. TikTok. Oh, by the way, the reason you got fucked by TikTok is because you're talking about elections. Because every time I talk to you about elections, I get red flagged right away too, except I know better, and I stop talking about it every time I get red flagged.
Well,
so it's just elections, because every time we've talked about elections for the last year or so, I've gotten flagged just like that. And I'm usually smart enough, and I try to change the subject.
Well,
you guys were not.
I wish you had talked about elections with all that Charlie Kirk bullshit. I gotta go. Thank you.
Yeah, but avoid talking about elections and let me set up Zoom for you. Just all you gotta do is get on and talk to people. I'll do all the work for you, and this way you'll get more callers.
I get plenty of callers. That ain't the problem. It's the censorship.
Yeah, but when TikTok goes down, Instagram is the only other option, and Instagram sucks. And this will get you more MAGA callers from YouTube and from everywhere.
Okay.
Everybody will be able to call you from anywhere.
Fair enough. All right, we'll do it. All right, I gotta go though. Go ahead and drop. All right, moving on with the program. Mama had charisma, which allowed him to reach over to the other side of the aisle, but that's all. Okay. He's trying to brainwash you. Well, we don't agree on what he's talking about. I don't agree on the Charlie Kirk stuff. And I know MAGA does. Look, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't agree on it. I don't agree that Charlie Kirk accomplished so much. He should have the flags raised at half staff, and with Jesse Jackson, he didn't do shit. By the way, for my YouTube viewers, I need you guys to tap the screen, get the likes on up. Certainly on TikTok, feel free to do that as well. Unfortunately, right now, TikTok has, Blue One Banks. Wow, that was very nice of you. Thank you. They still talking about Kirk. Not even his wife thinks about it. Actually, that's not true. Charlie Kirk's wife still talks about him. Shit, he's her cash cow. Without Charlie Kirk, she'd be, hanging out at Denny's or Waffle House serving grits. So now she gonna keep talking about Charlie Kirk. She wasn't, I mean, she done some shit at the Heritage Turning Point as well, but not to anywhere near his level. So no, she gonna keep talking about Charlie Kirk. It's a winner. You gonna keep bringing that shit up, just like Trump keeps bringing up Biden. It's a winner for him to keep bringing that shit up. Kirk pushed debating with the opposition. Yeah. So does Fox. So does MSNBC. So does The View. So do I. God damn it. Shit, you gonna lower the flag to have staff for me? I let plenty more opposition on than Kirk. And I'll let you say what you want to say. So shit. Do I get a flag lowered to have staff? Or should I go around and criticize a few more black people? Maybe that'll help it out, huh? Anyway, her family's mega wealthy, so she'll probably be fine. Well, mega wealthy or not, more money was given to her after the death of Charlie Kirk. I think they gave her plenty more money, so she's mega wealthy now. What did MLK really do? Wow, you got to drink out of the same drinking fountain. That's a real hell of a way to downgrade what the accomplishments of Martin Luther King, huh? All he did was allow us to drink out of the same water fountain, huh? Wow. I mean, whole businesses and communities would not even serve you. You ever heard of the Green Book? I'm assuming somebody like you, Jimmy, that made that comment probably has not. Whereas if you went on a cross-country trip, I'm from Chicago. If I wanted to drive down to Memphis or something to visit my other family members, I would have to have what was called the Green Book because it kept track of the few gas stations that would allow me to stop for service. All the white gas stations wouldn't even allow me to stop in and get gas. Fucking run out of gas on the highway because so many places wouldn't serve you. And then now some fucking racist white sheriff pulls up and wonders why you're on the shoulder of the highway. So they actually had a book called the Green Book. So you would know on cross-country trips where you could stop to get a meal and shit like that. Because most of America's red outside the big cities. Those areas were loaded with places that wouldn't serve you. So when you ask, well, he allowed us to drink out of the same water fountain. No, he allowed you to do a hell of a lot more than that. He allowed you to be a fucking human being. How about that? Martin Luther King allowed you to be a fucking human being where you could travel and feel just like the other people. That's what he did. You don't want to give him credit for that. I get it, but he did a lot more than that. Mr. G says Trump ain't shit. Says messing with veterans and the Iran war. What is he doing with veterans now? What is he doing? And I see somebody said crazy how sundown towns still exist. Do they really exist? When I was an over-the-road driver, I heard about places like Vidor, Texas and stuff like that. But are there real-world examples of a black person, an African-American, being in a sundown town in the last 10, 15 years and something bad happening to them? I know there are people in towns that don't want black people there because there are towns in Arkansas that they're trying to make all white towns. I get it. There are places that don't want Negroes around. But are there places where people went and actually had something bad happen to them for being there after sundown? I see Decky says yes here in Alabama. Yeah, you guys are saying yes. I'm surprised I haven't gotten hold of those stories. Korea, China made me, Russia, Pakistan, Turkey. I don't get what that. And that's your democratic state, Illinois, that was one of the last states to actually allow black people to have a voice. I don't buy that at all. I don't buy it. You had to give me what's making you say that. Sundown towns are still around 100%, says Kraft. Yikes. Trying to cut veterans' benefits. President Trump, huh? In a time where he's using military personnel to bomb everybody. He's cutting. How many of you folks heard the story of Christy Nome? There was a seagoing vessel out there that apparently a Navy man fell overboard. And they were trying to find him, I guess, and rescue him at sea. and they wanted to use one of the cargo planes, C-130 or whatever they use, C-5, whatever they are. I don't know the designation, but one of the seaplanes that was being used to haul immigrants back and forth. They wanted to divert one of those to bring them over the scene. You know, they do wide swaths trying to see if they can find the floating head at sea and recover the man. And Christy Nome refused to let the plane be used by the Coast Guard to find this missing person and demanded it continue being used to ship immigrants out of the country. So apparently the Coast Guard is pissed off with Christy Nome. Wow. That's cruel. You won't even let them use this thing for a little bit to save one of your own, to try to rescue one of your own. You're that gung-ho on deported immigrants that you won't let them borrow this plane. I mean, you can't leave these motherfuckers in a detention center for another night. You need to deport them right now, huh? You got a serviceman that's overboard. The vessel can't find them. So we need eyes and ears from the air. And you really would rather continue deporting people than let us borrow that. That's cold. That's fucking cold. Looking in the comments here real quick. Looks like Germany around Madison, huh? I moved to East Texas in 1974. The washateria has white only painted on the windows, but there were black folks doing their laundry. So you're talking about the laundromat. I'll always remember that. Well, back in 1974, I could certainly see that. I mean, you're talking, less than a decade after the Civil Rights era. You don't, just because you pass legislation does not change what's in the hearts and minds. That takes a little bit longer. I mean, just like, Obama legalized gay marriage. There are still people that are fighting not to have to deal with that, not to serve them, not to bake a cake for them. They're still fighting against that. That's been 11 years ago. So you don't change it. You don't change what's in the hearts and minds just by passing a law. That's the problem. Let's go back to the box. We'll make it happen with Cash Vault. Good evening. Welcome to the program. You can tell this guy has a TikTok or has a tick or worm. He was in snow. Huh? Your grammar. Look, I don't mind the insult, but when you try to do an insult and your grammar is so bad, I want to give your insult justice there. Till whatever your name is. I can't even find my fucking glasses. I can read the text, but I can't read the name. Tell the truth is your name. Look, I'm gonna give your insult justice. We don't block, ban, or censor anybody, but your grammar sucks. Tell your third grade teacher to retype that for you, and I'll read it for you. But I don't want your third grade teacher to not be done proper justice. So call her up and have her retype whatever the hell you're trying to send, and we'll go ahead and read it. Looking in the comments here, no shit, we all voted based on policies. Biden crippled the economy. Kamala says she would repeat the same actions as Biden. We chose the best option possible. I understand that. And I said that many times before, that there are legitimate reasons to vote for Trump. Even if you're African American, I can totally understand why people voted for Trump. Fact is, he promised a lot of good shit at a time when people thought the country was not doing well. Now, it's a difference between saying that I understand why people voted for Trump in 2024 versus why people still support Trump in 2026. He promised a lot of good shit that he has not delivered on. So I understand why you went with him in 2024. He's going to end wars in 24 hours. He stated in 12 months he would cut your energy bills in half. That's some good shit. He promised a lot of good shit. I can understand it. But we're now almost a year and a half out. A lot of the promises he made, not only have they not been delivered on, they can't be delivered on because the time frame he gave you is already expired. So I understand why people voted for him in 2024. But I'm going to shave off the understanding for a lot of people why they still support him in 2026. Because the guy we have is a hell of a lot different than the guy we were told we were going to get. You weren't told he was going to be attacking countries and shit like this. You didn't hear about all of that. He went way beyond that. Even his policy, even his statements about the largest deportation in history. He didn't tell you it was going to be in this manner. He didn't say he was going to do all of this. I mean, you think the Hispanic community would have voted for this? So I understand getting rid of rapists and murderers when you got Biden letting everybody in. Makes perfect sense. But getting rid of grandma that's been keeping my kids for the last 6 years, no, that wasn't what he campaigned on. So I understand voting for him. But supporting him in 2026, now you're supporting a different person than what you voted for. He is slick as okra, says Miss Mobetta. Yikes. I listen, I lean left. For me, while I don't think Trump's first term was that bad, decent economy and stuff like that, I don't like how he handled the pandemic, but I don't think Trump 1.0 was like horrible. But when he started talking about re-elect him and he'll give police immunity from prosecution, I didn't need to hear anything more. Look, if you're running for president and you're talking about taking everybody's Second Amendment rights away, for people on the right, they don't need to hear anything else. I don't care what you're going to do with the economy or what you're going to do with job numbers. If you're talking about taking my gun away, I don't need to hear anything else. You're disqualified from me voting for. You start talking about giving police immunity in liberal cities where I live at, the rest is just noise. Once he said that, I was done. Grandma don't speak English and smuggles drugs, huh? Employment numbers bounce all over, just like gas, food, and utility. Yeah, true. But like I said, once he started talking about taking away, better yet, giving police immunity from prosecution, which is kind of what happened with ICE, I was good. That was enough for me. I wasn't going to investigate anything further than that. We'll go to hang time. Trump gave you a job. Did he? How? I was working before Trump got elected. Same job. So he didn't give me one. 10 years, 30 years, illegal is illegal. I don't disagree that illegal is illegal, but the difference of opinion I have is this. Driving 40 miles over in a 55. So you're doing 95 miles down the highway. 40 miles over the limit. That's speeding. Obviously, that's speeding. Driving 65 in a 55 is speeding as well. I don't buy that speeding is speeding. I don't buy that illegal is illegal. I think there are levels to things you do. So treating all illegal immigrants the same is something that doesn't resonate with me. I mean, they're chasing down grandma that's been here and hasn't done anything wrong since she got here, the same way they would chase down a rapist or a murderer. I don't support that. I believe that if one of us commits a crime, with the exception of it being rape or murder, and thank you, Jackson, appreciate that, with the exception of it being a really serious felony, usually when you're in court, the judge will ask the prosecutor, what else does he have on his record? Because that makes a difference in how they treat you. They treat people that have a first offense more lenient than they do with somebody with a lengthy criminal history. I believe that should be done in terms of immigration. If you've been over here for 30, 40 years, or you came from a country when you were 2 and you don't even speak the language, well, you came here illegally at 2, you're 39, you gotta go. No, I don't buy that. I think that just like with an American or just like anybody else, if you go before the court, they should do what a judge's job is to do. Judge the situation and make a ruling based on what's going on. I don't like the blanket, do A, must receive B. They actually done that in the whole when they had the war on drugs, the crack war, not the opioid war, because they were much more lenient on users of opioids than they were on crack. The mandatory minimum type shit, where you treated anybody that had possession of crack, well, you gotta get 5 years. Mandatory minimum. So you actually had judges like, this guy's 18, he don't have any criminal history, his mom don't gave us the paperwork, some college was accepting him, and he just happened to do something stupid one night, And because of mandatory, I got to get his kid 5 years. I don't even want to do it. You had judges even said, I don't even want to get his guy that. So, same thing with the immigration shit. There are judges that don't want to deport some of these people. So I don't favor the illegal is illegal. I believe a judge should be allowed to do their job and judge the case before them and come to a conclusion. But the Trump administration is really hateful and anti-immigrant, so they want to take it out of the hands of judges and have the judges be forced to do it the way they want it, which is all immigrants got to go. And by the way, they're going at the legal immigrants as well. They just aren't saying that, but they are going at the TPS. Like I said, the Afghanis that helped our GIs out in Afghanistan, they're kicking a lot of them out. I mean, they're going after anybody that they can go after. You don't have to be here illegally to get deported. And when they come looking for you, they treat you just like a rapist or murderer. They'll bust in your house with guns aimed at you too. It doesn't matter. They're treating them all the same. So that's where I totally disagree with a lot of that. You mean the felon administration, says Billy Wow. Ooh, I'm going to stay away from that. Clickbait, he said Trump is right about everything, but just said 5 things. Well, the Trump is right about everything, since you brought that up, is Trump made a statement. We've played the video a couple times, but I'll give it to you again since you were worthy enough to put it in the comments. Here is the statement Trump made, which I absolutely believe he was right about.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage.
Now, he's saying that he's saying that about Obama. This is from 2011. But you hear him saying that our president is going to start a war with Iran because he's not good at negotiating. This comment has aged pretty badly, huh? Because he's literally talking about himself now. He's doing it. So he was right. That's why it's not clickbait. That's what the title of this piece is. Trump was right about this. He is right about it. He's right about our president is going to start a war because he's not good at negotiating. So that's the reason why I posted that. Anyhow, folks, unfortunately, I got to step away. But thanks for the comment, though. Yeah, that don't look. No, it doesn't look good. This statement is aged really bad, really bad. Trump has put his banner on the department. Yeah, I saw that big ass banner. To me, when Trump was caught on a hot mic, I believe it was in North Korea, where he was like, I want my people to stand up and clap for me too. He means that. A lot of the stuff he is doing is very Kim Jong-unish. Kim Jong-unish. It is like that. You know, Kim Jong-un got big ass statues and tributes to himself all over North Korea. He is doing it. He's doing very much the same stuff. Look, he's a big fan of Victor. What is the guy name from the leader of Hungary? I think it is Orban, whatever the guy's name. He likes these type of guys that lead that way. And it appears as if he asked them for pointers when he was in there. How do you get your people to do this shit? My people take me to court and fight back and shit. How do you get your people to do stuff like this? That's what Viktor Orban, yeah. It sounds like he's talked to folks like that, and they gave him pointers on what to do. And he's come to America and he's trying to do that kind of stuff. You know, well, you need to make sure if you're going to be in this city, this is where your home is, you need to have a lot of military presence there so that you're well defended anytime all of a sudden now you see what's happening in D.C. You don't need your citizens to be armed around you. Well, they're taking away your Second Amendment rights in D.C. and strengthening the amount of military that's there. I mean, to me, I know a lot of you folks disagree with this, and I could be wrong, but this is just my own personal opinion, just like you're entitled to yours. It sounds like he has talked to those folks, the dictator types, and took pointers from them, and he's now bringing those pointers back to America. That's the way I view it. Maybe you see it differently. Anyhow, I do got to step away. I appreciate the folks have been very patient with what happened on TikTok, and Instagram times out. So that's what happened with Instagram. So nevertheless, I'll read a couple comments before I go. Enjoy being on the wrong fucking side of history, says Jeff. Wait a minute. Well, he's talking to somebody, not me. He says, enjoy being on the wrong side of, enjoy being on the wrong fucking side of history. Chumper. I assume he's not talking to me. Could be. We'll see. My belief is unless we get some sort of permanent conservative leadership in America, I mean, Trump could run finagle the laws or something, get a third term, but Father Time's going to catch up with Trump, so he can only be around for so long. I mean, he's an 80-year-old man. But let's say we do get another term of Trump, and then it's followed by J.D. Vance, 2 or 3 terms, and something like that. If something wild like that does not happen, I expect the Trump administration to be on the wrong side of history. Because I'm going to tell you, I don't think MAGA, if they have to live through a liberal administration, is going to be okay with that liberal administration doing the same stuff Trump was doing. They wouldn't be okay with it. So the only way things can go is for future Trump supporters to admit we let him get away with too much, because they're not going to want a liberal. Do you want Gavin Newsom in there, naming structures and shit after himself? You wouldn't want that. Would you want AOC doing that kind of stuff? No. So he has to be on the wrong side of history, unless we can have a permanent conservative government. Because MAGA would not want any liberal doing the stuff that Trump is doing. You want him taking aircraft and things like that from enemies and shit? No, you wouldn't want that. It's okay because you favor the guy that's doing it. We can discuss that, but you're not gonna. You don't want the opposition doing that. You want a liberal. You want crooked Hillary to have her own cryptocurrency. You wouldn't be okay with that. So the only future is for MAGA to come out and say, yeah, maybe we let him do too much stuff. Otherwise, you're going to have a liberal in there putting their face in statues and stuff like that up everywhere. So those are the only 2 choices. Either a permanent conservative government, or MAGA's going to have to admit, yeah, we let him go overboard. Naming ships after himself. I mean, you want the USS AOC? No, you don't want that kind of stuff. USS Mamdani, and you don't want that stuff. So you either admit you let him get away with too much stuff, or you maintain conservatism from now to eternity. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'll catch you guys mañana. I don't know what the hell happened with TikTok. Hopefully tomorrow we're back up and running. We'll be up live. Follow the program if you're watching us on Instagram, Substack, TikTok, or YouTube, and I'll see you then. Gotta go. Thank you guys for tuning in.